Charlamagne the God.
Andrew Schultz.
We are the Brilliant Idiots, and this episode is brought to you by Weed Week. Weed Week is happening soon on Viceland. I would think this week, right? Since 420 is now. The TV channel from Vice. It's like Shark Week, but with weed. They're premiering new seasons of shows like Bong Appetit and Weedakit. And late nights, my guys, Jesus and Mero, moved their Viceland show to L.A. for the week so they can legally celebrate the high holy days. I'm going to see them this week when I'm in L.A. on 420. Weed Week starts April 17th on Viceland and ends on 420. Go to Viceland.com to find your channel.
Now, it's also brought to you by Squarespace, okay? Whether you need a portfolio to showcase your work, a store to sell your products and services, or a blog to share your ideas, Squarespace gives you everything you need to make your next move into a reality, including a free domain call to action. Start your free trial today at squarespace.com and enter the offer code IDIOT to get 10% off your first purchase.
And when we putting this out, this is going to be out Wednesday at the regular time Thursday.
But anyway, we record this Monday, so some crazy shit goes down.
Sorry.
Yeah, my bad.
But so if you are listening to this on Thursday, I'll be in Los Angeles at the Grove, the Barnes and Nobles at the Grove at 6 p.m. You know, my book is out right now.
You should have already bought the book. If it's Thursday right now, you should have already got the book.
But Black Privilege, Opportunity Comes to Those Who Create It is out. And you can come see me at the Barnes and Nobles at the Grove at 6 p.m. today. And then on Saturday, the 22nd, I'll be in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Georgia Tech Barnes and Noble College at 12:30 p.m. And then I'm gonna go head over to Acapella Books, also in Atlanta. I'll be there at 4 p.m. And then on Sunday, I'll be in Charleston, South Carolina at Blue Bicycle Books.
Hey.
Well, that's actually the Pure Theater. The Pure Theater in Charleston is brought to you by Blue Bicycle Books. I'll be there at 12 p.m. And then on April 23rd, I'll be at 2nd and Charles in Columbia, South Carolina at 5 p.m., okay?
Gorgeous. And this weekend, Friday through Sunday, I'm going to be in Atlanta as well. So I'm going to come by that, but I'm going to do some shows at the Atlanta Punchline Comedy Club, the Punchline Comedy Club in Atlanta. So come out Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I got shows there, and I'll swing by your book signings and stuff. So make sure you check out all those. And for more dates, make sure you check out theandrewschultz.com. Let's get the show started. Today we have a special guest that I've been wanting to get on the show for a while. Mike Malice. I've done, we've done Red Eye together. We've done Red Eye together, and I see him at Fox News quite a bit.
I see Mike all the time whenever I do Kennedy's show. Salute to Kennedy.
Yeah, shout out to Kennedy as well. And I've been wanting to get you on because you've been to North Korea.
I have.
And it's been this back and forth because I got
an answer for you.
No, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. But here's the thing. I've been biding my time to wait for North Korea to really pop off. Like, we've been going back and forth the last few months. Yeah. Like, is it ready? Are they launching missiles yet? Are they like you hit me up, be like, it's kind of bubbling. I'm like, it's not there yet. Let it get there.
By the way, practice makes perfect. They ain't been testing all them missiles for years. Okay, eventually one of them shit gonna find its way over this motherfucker. All right?
Okay, so you tell us, first of all, why did you go to North Korea? What is this about?
Okay, there's two.
How do you go to North Korea? Break the whole thing.
Okay, first of all, I'm an author. You know, I do books with celebrities and so on and so forth as my life. And you reach a certain point, you're like, all right, I can spend a little extra money, I can travel. And the first place I wanted to go was North Korea for a couple of reasons. Number one, party cred.
Yeah.
So,
party cred.
Yeah.
Oh, just to say you've been able to party in North Korea?
You've never been to North Korea?
That T-shirt is fire. I've been to North Korea and all I got was this lousy T-shirt. I survived North Korea.
Soon to be available at BrilliantIdiotsMerch.com.
They're all the wrong size. So I'm 5'6", 140. I'm an extra large there because they're all starving, so their clothes are all smaller, right?
Your dick is probably huge over there too, man.
Well, that's everywhere, Charlamagne. Don't let the white boy fool you, okay? Thank you.
He said Charlamagne like you say Chicago.
Charlamagne.
Okay.
So, and I was born in the Soviet Union. I'm Russian. I'm Jewish. Those are two chances for me at some point to end up in a concentration camp, and they have concentration camps there. So I wanted to go there and see what it was like for my family maybe 70, 80 years ago. And also I wrote my book because people in the West don't understand them. And I think, especially in the media, they need to understand them because it's the worst place on earth, and it's 10 times worse than people think. So I made it my mission to kind of spread the word and help people understand this place.
You better than me because I'm not going nowhere where they still got slavery just to see how my ancestors
You just said you were going to be in the South this weekend. What the hell are you talking about? You are 0 for 2, Charlemagne the God.
But I'm saying, you said concentration camps still exist there.
Yeah, well, I didn't go to the actual camps. It's not part, it is not part of the tour.
Yeah, slavery's not still going on in this
Okay,
stuff.
so just to get, we know that North Korea is horrible. You're going to tell us how horrible it is.
Yes.
I would just like to know some of the misconceptions about North Korea. So is there anything that we can start out that's somewhat positive about North Korea?
Yeah, how's the food?
How's the food?
There's nothing positive you could say about North Korea.
What about the hoes? What about are there hoes? Like how do you, can you get laid? Is it easy to party out there?
Okay, you want to talk about the hoes? Many of the women who escaped North Korea into China are sold into sexual slavery and married to Chinese men. And if they're ratted out, they get sent back and killed.
Well, I mean,
So,
when you talk about North Korea,
so to speak.
prostitution sounds like a great, sounds like a come up.
You would get the death penalty, but it started creeping up in the Northeast, so they do have some prostitution. You're not getting laid because North Korea is also the most racist country on earth, so the idea of them hooking up with someone who's Chinese, let alone white, is just absolutely crazy. They don't really have sex before they get married either. They're completely chaste and puritanical.
So when you say racist, they don't like anybody that's not North Korean?
They don't like anyone who's Korean, so they consider Korea to be one country and the South is just under U.S. occupation. So when you're there, North is lowercase n and South Korea is lowercase s. So basically, women go into China to get food and they get back and they're pregnant, they beat them until they miscarry because they're not going to mix their Korean blood with Chinese blood.
Wow. So you can't get laid out there.
You cannot get laid.
Is there any party like where do they go to just kick it? Like you had a hard day of like work and like marching with your legs high.
Yeah.
Where do you go to just have a beer and just relax?
So they homebrew a lot.
Okay.
One of the problems that the leaders had with North Korea is people having spare time. They were against that because you have people having spare time when they're by themselves, they can be plotting against the government. So they try to make sure every minute of your day is taken care of, and this is something they brag about. Not only that, everyone in the country is in a group, like it would be your school, it would be your neighborhood, it would be your work, and once a week that group gets together and you have to get up and say what you did wrong that week, and everyone else has to say what they saw you doing wrong. So you're not even, everyone has to be a snitch, right? You have to be a snitch, and you better have something to say. They've been doing this since the 70s. Everyone in the country. So when you say how bad is it, it's so much worse than people think. So when you see these people marching in parades, everyone's watching them, so you better be kicking high, or else you're going to get told on at that weekly meeting.
Mike, I feel like you and Dennis Rodman have had two different experiences.
Oh, that monster! That guy should have a. They should put a bullet in him.
I think Dennis Rodman would say totally the opposite of what you're saying.
Dennis Rodman came back and he said, "We have prisons. What's the difference? What's the difference is when you go to these concentration camps, North Korea. You know, you hear Republican politicians say the family is the basic unit of society. Well, they take that serious there, and what they means is when someone is punished, they punish your whole family. 3 generations. So 3 generations will be sent to the camps. You're not
Give
told.
me an example. I commit a crime.
Yeah, knock on the door. Come with us. Your whole family's coming. No one's told who did something wrong.
My dad?
Your dad, grandma, or your kids, whatever. They take them. You go to these camps. Now, here's what's funny. Haha. You get a quota of work in the camps. If you kill yourself, your family has to fill your quota. So even killing yourself is not an escape from the regime. So if you want to talk about what's good about North Korea, I mean, they're clever in how they punish and control and manipulate people.
So does anybody break the rule? I would never commit
Well,
a
you
crime.
can't help but break the rules. So what's happening, because the rules are everything, you know, people have, like cops here, you know, imagine what the cops are like there.
Yeah.
However, what's good is that the government control is breaking down, so it's easy to bribe the cops if you've got some money. So that keeps the law from being enforced in such a draconian way.
Well, if the government control is breaking down, then that just means revolution is soon to come, right?
No.
You don't think so?
Because you can't, for revolution, people have to get together and
Because the
talk.
meetings, remember the meetings, they're going to say at the meeting, hey, I saw you planning revolution.
Right, and then you're killed,
boom,
100%.
But all people revolt at some point in time.
Not North Koreans, discipline.
You think so?
They lack discipline. They have discipline.
The
Great
slaves didn't
discipline.
revolt.
Shut up. Yes, they did.
But not to a successful extent to take over a whole country.
But they did revolt, though.
They were minor
Yeah,
revolt.
I mean, you could call a revolt Harriet Tubman and Underground Railroad. That was, escaping is a revolt. Like,
they do that in North
They
Korea.
escape.
Yeah.
In terms of like overthrowing the government, that's absolutely impossible.
Do you think that we would have already intervened if
There
they
is an underground. I'm sorry to interrupt. There is an underground railroad of many Western and Korean people who help people escape from North Korea. It's a whole big process because China will send you back, but Mongolia won't. So you got to get them to Mongolia.
So was it Harriet Tubman in North Korea?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
Wow.
Yeah, but they eat kimchi.
Kimchi Tubman.
How we
at Tubman.
Wow.
Dude, I can't believe Chris isn't here for this episode. He'd be so excited. Chris Moreau is our honorable. He's like you in a lot of ways, actually. He writes books for famous people. He's I don't know if he's hung, but he's really into Asian culture.
I wonder how he would try to spin off Korea.
Who, Chris Moreau?
Yeah.
He would try to find some way where it's like American imperialism or call it, some kind of Western influence that causes these problems.
Well, it is Western because they ripped off everything from Russia and from Hitler a lot of stuff, and they just took it to the next level.
I want to hear more about the family discipline thing. Though.
Yeah.
Because I would think that would make people behave.
It does.
Because in a lot of ways, I don't want to. I always say people are responsible for their own individual choices, but that village you was raised around does kind of influence maybe those choices just a little bit. Like maybe somebody dropped the ball somewhere in the family.
Well, here's another level of hell that they did. So for 70 years, they did this program, one iteration of which is my great name, is the Understanding People Project. We all want to understand people, right? That sounds great. So what they do, they interviewed every single person in the country, everyone, and they figured out what you were doing during the Korean War and before World War II. Were you fighting with the great leader Kim Il-sung? Were you a member of the Workers' Party of Korea? That's good. Were you a landowner? Were you a priest? Were you born in the South? That's bad. Based on this, you were assigned into one of the classes, hostile, wavering, or favored class, and there's 51 subcategories. It's like a credit score, right?
51?
There's 51 layers. Just like, a credit score's got, 800, right?
Yeah.
This determines where you live, whether you can join the army, and whether you can go to college. So the people with the bad credit, Sungbun it's called, were sent to the Northeast, where the good ones are in the capital city, Pyongyang, and you can't travel from city to city, really.
So I don't like the based off credit thing, but if it was like based off IQ, I might can understand that just a little bit.
We do that already.
Yeah,
Or based on socioeconomic class, we chop it up. Can you have a business there? Can you have like a grocery store, or does the government own the grocery store?
So what happened?
Are there rich people? Are there independently wealthy people?
So what happened in the 90s is, the government control effectively collapsed, and the people who were most loyal to the government were the first to starve. Because they kept thinking food's going to come, food's going to come, food's going to come. Whereas the shady people were like, fuck this. And they started stealing. They started trading with China and doing their own kind of hustle. That's basically where people have food now. They have these little markets in these towns, and you give a cut to the cops to make sure that they look the other way. And that way everyone gets food. So that's really what's coming up and what's having the government lose its control over the country.
It sounds a lot like Cuba.
Oh, well, it's worse in many ways, because they don't have access to the outside world. I mean, when
and they don't have the cool cars.
They don't have the old timey
cars.
No, they don't have old timey cars.
I'm shocked they let people in. Like I'm shocked they would let you in.
This is why everyone can
tourism,
go in.
Right?
Everyone, it's legal, right?
Okay.
So they don't produce really anything of value. So they want hard currency. So they want U.S. dollars, they want Chinese, they want RMB, they want Japanese yen, and so on and so forth. So when you're there, they're milking you for all the cash they have because they can use that cash to buy other stuff, and then we can become propaganda and tell the rest of the world what we saw.
What happened to the kid? Isn't it a kid that's being held captive over there? What's his name?
So I don't remember his name. But
He's young though.
Yeah, but listen, he went to a floor he wasn't allowed to and stole a sign. You go in the White House to go to a floor you're not allowed to, and you steal one of those portraits. What the hell do you think is going to happen to you? It's going to be nice. So the last time they did this was, Lisa Ling or Laura Ling, I forget her name. Yeah. She was told, don't come here. She had a camera crew with her, and they're like, don't come here. And she came anyway. And listen, you go to a foreign country with a camera crew to expose their secrets to the rest of the world. That's spying, right?
Absolutely.
So they captured her, and they held her in very nice conditions, and they got President Clinton to get his ass to Pyongyang, and he let her out, and they can show, look, we made President Clinton get down on his knees and kiss our ring.
I would never go. You decide to go there, rot in the prison. Because I remember I watched this Vice documentary, right?
It's a little incorrect.
The Vice guys.
It's a little incorrect.
Regardless, the Vice guys are videotaping, and the police officer, the North Korean police officer or army official, whatever, says, turn off the camera, and then they kept videotaping anyway. It's the same as the United flight guy. Once the police tell you, and you don't listen, hey, buddy,
listen,
it's on you now. Buddy.
You know how I
it's
feel about
you.
places like
You're
North
getting
Korea?
dragged out. You're getting dragged out.
I feel I'm with Schultz on that. I feel it's like when you're like Steve Irwin or one of these animal hunters, and you're always fucking with the people in the wild,
sometimes
and the animals in the wild.
Sometimes you
exactly.
get stung.
I can't be mad at you when a shark eats you.
That's
when you're literally putting your hand in the shark's mouth all the goddamn
You're
time.
in their hood. You know what I mean? Like you're there. You're not supposed to be there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Wait, what were we saying?
But when you're there, you've got your guides, but they know what's up. So they're kind of protecting you to make sure you have a good experience.
Fuck that. That's like getting a public defender and going to court
It's not
for a
a public
goddamn murder
defender.
trial.
It's like being
Fuck
friends
that.
with the vice president because they're very powerful.
So why did Mike Pence give his speech from South Korea the other day and not North Korea?
Because he's not dumb.
Exactly.
He's not Lisa Ling. Lisa Ling went to North Korea to give her a speech, then she got locked up. Listen, first of all, we shouldn't let Lisa Ling back. Here's the thing: if you don't,
Wait a
I
minute.
wouldn't let her back.
No, he's right. And here's why: there's blood in her hands.
Go.
Because when she was in China, she got the names and contact information of some refugees, and she says when they caught her in North Korea, she burned all that information. What kind of fucking cops catch you and they say, "Oh, you need to burn some information. Go ahead and burn it"? I'm sure those people rounded up and killed.
She's saying like
Bro,
a fucking.
guarantee she's. And you know what? That's what I'm starting to realize about a lot of these like cool documentary type sites like Vice, and there's a bunch of these other ones. It's like you have a conversation with the Taliban, right? Your Vice. You think that's for free? No, you got to cough up $100K to have a conversation with the Taliban. I don't know what the exact price is. So now you're paying for terrorism. You're actively involved in terrorism.
Killing.
Actively involved in killing people for a 9-minute YouTube documentary. Chill, dude.
Here's what else she did. She was in Pyongyang. She interviewed a family and she asked, "Can Kim Jong-il do anything wrong?" And they just pretended they didn't understand her. You are going to a country where everyone's a hostage and you say to them on camera, "Can you criticize your leader for us?"
That's what's it called? What's that shit called? When the cops make you break the law.
You know what they call that?
Right.
They call that the North Korean version of punked. That's what they call that shit. All right.
And to their credit,
the fuck out of here.
What is it when the cops try to make you break the law? It's called entrapment.
Entrapment. Yes.
It's fucking entrapment. Hey,
With
would you and your whole family like to go to jail for the rest of
I'm
your
not gonna lie,
life?
that's American arrogance.
Yes, it is.
There's no way in hell I'm going to somebody else's country and try to get you to talk about how bad your fucking leader
on
is.
the
Real
camera.
talk. This is real shit. If America doesn't have a direct flight to the country,
JetBlue don't go there. I ain't fucking with it.
If it don't go there,
By the way, JetBlue goes to Cuba now, and I'm still ain't fucking with that.
I'll fuck with Cuba now.
I gotta take a moment here. I did 2 books with D.L. Hughley and make a joke and say, "Are you sure you're not going to take Soul Plane?" Shout out to DL, my friend
SEOUL.
SEOUL. So look, here's the thing. If it don't go direct and you get in trouble there, that's on you. Don't come crying to the American government about how we need to help you.
Yes.
If it doesn't go direct, there's a reason. We didn't give you flights there because we know you're going to fuck up.
And
we don't trust you.
Like that kid, he's like 20-something.
Yeah.
And from what I heard, he was in a concentration camp and shit now.
I'm sure he was treated very well. He was not in a concentration camp.
So they don't treat you like fucked up?
No, because they treat you very well because you're a hostage. You want a hostage to not have bruises. You want him to be nice so he can return safe and sound to get your money. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And furthermore, you want the hostage to say they treated me. You want them to do the Dennis Rodman treatment. Actually, they were very nice in North Korea. Actually, the people were very kind.
Yeah, but he got to be the right person, though. I mean, Bow Wow go over there and get trapped. America be like, oh, okay, well, you know.
Hey, man, sometimes it happens, Bow Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Charlie Sheen go over there, you're like, well, you know what I mean?
Actually, Kim Jong-il said explicitly on tape, secret audio tape, he says, "We don't want scores of tourists coming here and spreading AIDS." So they would not let Charlie Sheen in North Korea.
Whoa. Wow.
That's a quote from Kim Jong-il.
Kim Jong's full of shit because Magic Johnson go over there, he'd embrace him with open arms. Get the fuck out of here. He
does
loves
like
basketball. That's what I'm saying. He'd embrace Magic with open fucking arms.
Yeah, but
Knock
then
it
he'd
the
wash
fuck
his
off,
hands
Kim Jong-un.
repeatedly.
Hey, man.
Yo, that would be tough. How much do you really love basketball, Kim Jong-un?
Yeah, word up. It's Magic Johnson.
We gonna figure it out.
Irvin, baby.
5 rings.
Come on, man.
Come on.
Been to the finals 9 times. The second, I say it's a tie between him and Michael for the greatest of all time.
No.
But respectively, you put him second.
Michael's the greatest of all time.
I mean, Magic, listen.
Whatever. Point is,
Magic beat, once again,
he
went one-on-one with HIV
that's
and won.
true, but Michael Jordan went one-on-one with a Hitler mustache. That's tough, bro. That's tough. And he wiped that shit off like this. Nobody even cared.
Nobody gave a fuck.
Yeah. Hitler or AIDS.
People who cared are all dead.
That's true. Well, I don't know. No. There's a lot of Jews that are alive that still care about the Holocaust.
So terrible Jewish joke you just made.
Well,
Jesus
I
Christ,
can
Sean
say
Spicer.
it. I can say
Jesus
it.
Christ.
I went to yeshiva. I can say it.
So listen, how much of a threat is North Korea to the
let's
United
talk
States
about it.
of
Let's
America?
get real.
This is another reason I wrote my book. North Korea is not a threat to the U.S.
American arrogance.
However, they can nuke Seoul very easily, and there's 10 million people there. So I'm not going to sit here and say, like, whoops, it's just
Seoul is South Korea for everybody.
10 million people, like, overnight, in a second, is destroyed. That's crazy.
Okay, so how much of North Korea How much is North Korea a puppet for China?
It's not a puppet at all. So North Korea loves the fact that they call themselves a shrimp among whales, and they get to give the finger to China, the U.S., Japan, South Korea, and Russia.
But how can they give the finger to China if China is supporting their entire economy?
Because China has to support their entire economy because they don't want 24 million people who have never seen a computer, who don't speak Chinese, crossing the Tumen River and going into Manchuria. So China sat them down like during the 70s.
We're going to give you money to keep all your people here.
Yes,
so keep your people away from China.
Yes, they built a 7-story gold statue of Kim Il Sung in Pyongyang. You have to go there and bow before it. And the Chinese leader at the time said, "We're communists. We don't want maybe a giant gold statue is not what we're about." So they changed it to bronze. Okay, so China has constantly tried to get them to get their shit together, and they said, "Fuck you. What are you going to do about it?" And what is China going to do about it?
I thought that this was a puppet.
No,
I thought it was
it's the
a
opposite.
puppet regime. I thought it was China's way to leverage their relationship with America.
China hates them.
But isn't it also a territory thing? Like, doesn't China like the fact that there's a country in between American influence and China?
Oh, absolutely. They do like that. There's a buffer, but at the same time, they're trying to be respectable in the world, and they don't want to have to defend these ridiculous shenanigans.
Yeah.
So what do you mean when you say China can't do anything about it? China's got a huge military. Like, couldn't they just...
You're going to invade. So Kim Jong-il boasted that to fight the American eagle and the Chinese dragon, he had to turn North Korea into a hedgehog. And what he meant by this is a hedgehog has spines, missiles in every direction, and no animal can attack it. So they are proud of the fact that come and get us. There's nothing you're going to be able to do.
So why would America put that boat like on the outside of North Korea? Why the fuck would that scare them?
It wouldn't scare them, but at the same time, they can show on their news and say, look, the Americans tried to kill us all during the Korean War, which they started. They said that they claim that we started the Korean War. And when refugees leave and find out that, in fact, the great leader Kim Il-sung started the Korean War, it's been described as like us finding out that FDR bombed the Japanese at Pearl Harbor. It just doesn't make any sense to us, right? So their whole argument is they started in the 50s, the Americans, the U.S. imperialists, what they call us, to try to kill us all. And now they're buying their time to come back and kill us all. And the only thing standing between the Americans and you being killed is the leader.
Hold on, so now I'm talking about like right now it's a boat.
Yeah, so now you watch their news, I'm sure, they go, look, the Americans are sending their boat to come kill you.
So it basically reinforces all the bullshit they've been telling their people.
And so
it justifies their fears.
Yes.
Got you.
So we basically just need to give them internet. Why don't we airdrop internet laptops?
They do that. They started airdropping memory disks.
Yes.
So memory sticks. So the propaganda changed. The propaganda used to be, we have it better than every other country in the world. They would point to people going to the DMZ, which divides the Koreas, right? And people would go there with ripped jeans, and they would go, look, people in other countries are so poor, they have to dress in rags, right? So now that they realize the Chinese are much richer than us, they have to say, well, we're poor, but we're keeping Korea pure. So they had to change their whole story.
So it went from socioeconomic class to race.
Yes.
Race or like, what is it, xenophobia?
Yes, both.
So now it's like you have to be a pure Korean and these Chinese people are lower, they're dirty.
Right, and you're going to be treated terribly in these other countries.
But I'm saying, why doesn't America, why doesn't China, why don't these other countries, instead of actually going to war and sending missiles, why don't we send little laptops, why don't we send iPhones that have information?
Because if you're caught with that laptop or that information, what's going to happen to you, right? It's like
it ain't worth it.
It's like in junior high, you get caught with porn.
So we need like the Tupac hologram, but we need some other version of that. We need, what's the guy, Gangnam Style? What's the South Korean dude?
Psy.
We need Psy.
Yeah.
We need Psy to go out there and give a nice revisionist history.
But they are taught that everything we say is a lie.
But not Psy. You gotta trust Psy.
My guide heard his song, and she only understood like not everything from it. So they get some South Korean music. They love their K-pop over there.
Really?
Yeah.
K-pop.
Yeah.
How accurate is the interview? How accurate was that movie?
That I was worried to watch it because I thought they were going to get wrong. And there's this one scene where I'm like, okay, guys, nailed it. Where James Franco goes, "Oh, Kim's not that bad of a guy," and Seth Rogen says, "You're fucking stupid and you're fucking evil," because he starves his own people on purpose. And I talked to a refugee, and she said it would be great if they all saw it because they all think we're scared of Kim Jong-un, excuse me. So if they see that we're making fun of him right away, they're like, "Holy shit, this guy's not the badass that he's portraying himself to be."
So they do make fun of him in North Korea?
No, they make fun of him in the movie.
Okay, got you.
In the North Korea, they tell him that we're all scared of him. And you see this movie, it's like, no one's scared of this guy.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay. So basically, Kim Jong-un was probably pissed off because that movie ruined his image.
Well, they didn't see it, but it would, absolutely.
Basically, Kim Jong-un has this intimidation factor in North Korea, but Americans made him look pussy.
Oh, so that's the key to me.
Yes. So they think that he's magic. They think of him like we think of Uncle Sam, basically.
So did they really see the movie? Like
they did not see it, no. But,
so it was just Kim Jong-un's ego that was pissed off?
Well, that whole thing with the hacking, I don't know that it's necessarily that.
It was real, right?
It's a lot easier to blame North Korea than it is to blame China. So we never got down to the bottom of that, from my understanding.
Right.
I never understood that either, because I'm like, so you mean to tell me North Korea has the capabilities to hack what's going on in America, and you use it on the fucking movie to interview?
Right,
You use
exactly.
it for fucking Hollywood
Instead
studios?
of nuclear weapons and all this other stuff. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's very peculiar.
It makes no sense. And the movie still came out. They can't stop from coming out, even if it is hacked.
I don't think it came out in theaters, though.
No, but it came out. It didn't cease to
I wonder what the
exist.
science behind that was. Because a lot of people in Hollywood got exposed because of that shit.
But we know that Russia hacked us. We know that China hacked us. And this is the one people were picking a fight about over a movie?
Yeah.
What about Chinese the military secrets? Because it's a lot easier to pick on these freaks
than it is China, because we got to do something about China.
Exactly.
We got to pull up
Exactly.
Okay, so do you think if they had any natural resources that we were interested in whatsoever, we would have been invaded North Korea?
Well, they do have natural resources.
What?
They got coal and stuff, but I mean,
but coal
they don't. I mean, we wouldn't have invaded them. I mean, we don't want to invade them. It's just absolutely. Because here's the other thing. Here's how it gets even worse. So there's 100 to 200,000 people in these concentration camps, right? You can see the camps on Google Earth. They are told to their face all the time, if the U.S. imperialists invade, we are going to kill you all and burn these camps down. So I'm sure the president knows that if we attack them, we might be looking at genocide within 24 hours.
Wow.
So whenever I see these reports about how funny this place is or like how wacky they are, it's like, again, why I wrote the book, it's like not you guys, but like people don't understand. It's so much worse than you think.
Why do we care about these countries that can't harm us, though?
Well,
I'm tired of it. I don't like it at all. I know you're pussy when you drive the weapons down Times Square.
Right.
You don't pull the gun out unless you're going to shoot it.
It's a show of strength.
It's a show, but it's not.
But I mean, if that's the case, you can say America's kind of pussy because we tell everybody what we're going to do before we do it.
No, we Moab.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that means.
We dropped the mother of all bombs, bro.
Yeah, but not that's. I mean, that's
there's
recently,
a difference between pulling out the gun and brandishing it and pulling out the gun and shooting it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I'll be honest, from my understanding, from speaking to people that are develop these kind of weapons in the United States of America, if the world knows about a weapon or a fighter jet, we already got some better shit.
Right.
We only let people know about the whack shit.
I feel like that about all information. I feel like that about outer space and all that shit. Anything that they show us, they know 10 times more than that.
Exactly. So NASA's already working on the next thing. We already went to Mars.
Well, here's the other scenario that's going on over there. So Trump said you guys got better back down or we're going to hit you, and they're like, we're not going to back down, and the missile blew up, right? So one big theory is this is their way of backing down, of having intentionally a failed flight. So it doesn't look like they're backing off, but they actually are.
Hit them for what, though?
Because he says if you guys have some new bomb or intercontinental ballistic missiles, then that's going to be crossing a line.
I saw something this weekend, but they said like they weren't even like really testing a missile. It's like a celebration thing almost.
Well, so their Christmas is April 15th. That's the birthday of the great leader Kim Il Sung, who's the founder of North Korea. Every year they celebrate, and the kids get candy and so on and so forth. So so they had those big parades every year.
It's like a big firework.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're trying to convince yourself that you're strong, right? It's like when you buy tons of jewelry, you're trying to convince yourself that you're rich, but we know you're not rich.
But they're the fourth biggest army in the world, and they got nukes, so they are strong.
But they can't get the nukes off the ground. It's like having bullets without the gun.
No, they can get the nukes to Seoul.
To Seoul, but they're not. Are they beefing with Seoul like that?
10 million people.
And not to mention, don't we have some anti-nuke device that's in South Korea currently right now? So, for example, if the nuke was launched in the air in North Korea, we would be able to explode it over their own country.
This is the whole thing. They're not big on trying to take over anybody, but they're big on keeping in control.
Defending themselves.
Yeah, defending themselves.
Well,
that's
my point is that the second that nuke goes up in the air, boom, we make it explode. It kills everybody in that region, and then they learn their fucking lesson.
I think getting nuked would teach you a lesson, that's for sure, but it's not one you're going to get away from.
Yeah, you don't ever want to be responsible for 10 million people getting killed. Seoul is down with America, right?
Yeah,
so if they was to agitate North Korea so much, and North Korea was to bomb Seoul out of hate for America, they'd hate us forever.
What I'm saying is the bomb wouldn't even reach Seoul. Like we have technology. No, we have technology that's in South Korea, and this is what China was so upset about before. We have anti-ballistic missile technology that's in South Korea, and China was really upset about it because they thought that it was breaking the nuclear trust that all the whatever those 7 nations had.
I can't imagine that we would roll those dice.
Yeah, it's too much of a gamble, bro.
I mean, that is crazy stuff. 10 million people.
10 million people,
and
yeah.
even the visual.
This motherfucker talking shit all the time and not doing anything. Pull up, bro.
But I mean, the visual of a
No,
mushroom
we don't
cloud,
want him to pull up.
Pull up. I'm tired.
Pop off.
Yeah,
motherfucker.
no. And I think that's part of the problem that people have with Trump. It's like, why are you agitating these people?
You know what we should do? Instead of agitating, what we should just do is just literally Trump should be like, he's pussy, he ain't gonna do shit, and then don't respond ever again. We're responding to trolls. We're feeding the trolls. That's all North Korea doing
Trump is a
trolling.
troll.
Yeah, but he's got to understand. And so is Obama. So is every president that responded to these allegations. If you go to North Korea, if you're Lisa Ling and you go and they capture you, that's on you. We're not going to help you. Okay. And if North Korea tweets anything about a bomb or a test or anything like that, and we know you're not going to do some shit, don't even respond to it. We don't know. Nothing happened. No, North Korea tested a missile. No, they didn't. I think we should deny everything that they do until they literally.
So basically, they should do
starve the troll.
No, they should do to us what North Korea does to its people. Basically, you brainwash them. You tell them what you want them to know, what you want to hear, which isn't a bad thing.
Brainwashing is effective.
Hey, man,
it works.
Listen, I believe that fear is poison, insecurity is poison. And I feel like a lot of times when we know too much, it breeds this fear, it breeds this insecurity, it puts people in a state of panic that maybe they don't need to be in. Because I need to know the real threats.
Right.
Is North Korea going to cause my book sales to be fucked up? Are they going to bomb? Like, before I hit this New York Times
that is some
bestsellers
black
list.
privilege right there.
Hey, man.
That is some black privilege.
Before I hit this New York Times bestsellers list, are they going to bomb us? Am I going to see my daughter go to college? I have to worry about any immediate threat. That's what I need to know.
They don't buy books in North Korea.
God.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
If they can't buy black privilege in North Korea, then we can bomb them. That's how your foreign policy is.
Hey, man. They're not in the, see, this is my thing, and this is always my thing. And me and Schultz was talking about this a week ago. Why do we care if these people don't affect us?
Well, because we caused them to exist because of the Korean War and World War II, for one. We have allies in South Korea. And also, this is very big deal with our relationship with China. Plus, they keep threatening. Here's the other thing. If you have this little piece of shit country threatening you, America, all the time, and you let them kind of do it, it's not going to look good worldwide because then someone else is going to get ideas.
Yeah. So if you're the Chinese administration, what do you tell America? How do you tell America to handle North Korea? Do you tell them to relax?
They actually sat down in Mar-a-Lago, the president and
chocolate cake.
The president, yes.
Share that chocolate cake. That's some badass shit. I'm not gonna lie. That's it. And I know I'm gonna get shit for this, but like that is some super villain shit right there, bro. Trump is a legit super villain when you think about it. How do you sitting down eating chocolate cake, someone whispers in your ear, hey, we just bombed Syria, and then you take a bite of your chocolate cake and go, this is delicious. By the way, we just bombed Syria.
No,
you like the cake? That is some super.
By the way, he didn't say we bombed Syria. He said we bombed Iraq. And then he had to think about it like, oh yeah, it was Syria.
One of them over there.
Anyway. Risk for him.
Try the cake. That's all it was.
So they sat down and that was the big item on their agenda. And if China is willing to work with us, that's very, very useful. Here's the thing. The UN sat them down and they go, look, you guys have concentration camps. You guys have human rights abuses. And their response, North Korea's response was, we don't use the term concentration camps, so we don't have any. That was literally their answer to the UN. They said human rights means different things to different countries. For us, human rights means national sovereignty. So when you criticize us, you're violating our human rights.
I mean, they're not wrong, right? I mean, you could say the same thing about Saudi Arabia. There's human rights violations there.
Oh, absolutely.
We're totally cool with it. So it's not like we can it's not like we could go into these countries and say, hey, you got to treat people a certain way.
I think China...
What are we willing to put up with?
Right.
Yeah.
But
like
China
if you are our best friend, you could have concentration camps.
Right.
If you're not our best friend, then hey, get your shit together. That's the hypocrisy of it. And we decide that hypocrisy in America. Once we co-sign the lifestyle of people in Saudi Arabia and we're okay with it, we are not in a moral position to criticize immoral acts in any other country.
I think
that's true.
I don't think
you can't set the standard and then
break it. Yeah.
I don't think Saudi Arabia is anywhere near as bad as North Korea.
Sure, but it still breaks what we would call
human rights.
Human rights.
Absolutely. But
I heard nothing about pussy in none of these stories you're telling me, man. Did you get some pussy while you was out there at least?
Can you get laid?
You can't get laid over there.
You can't even fuck some?
No. My God. I don't even know what would happen to my guide if I hooked up. So basically, when you're in the hotel, you're segregated by nationality. So my guides weren't allowed on our floor. And the guide, there's always two guides, a man and a woman. They watch each other. So you're always being watched there.
Did you see any girls that were cute? Do they wear makeup there at all?
So,
or what?
oh yeah. So, but
do.
you're in Pyongyang. It's like New York. So they're bougie.
Really?
Oh, they're super bougie. So once a year, my guide was telling me, she goes, once a year we all go to the countryside, we all pick rice together, and I go, oh, that's very nice. She goes, yeah, it's great. You know what I mean? I said, and you know, they glorify farmers there. So I said, yo, in New York, people in the cities look down on people in the countryside. Is that the same thing here? She goes, of course. So they're all tripped out in their best outfits. All the women have 6-inch heels.
Really?
And they all have 80s gear because that's like as good as it's gonna get there. But they all, and I asked my guide, I said, yo, so they have something called Cholima, which is Pegasus. It's the spirit of speed. I said, if I can send you anything from the West, what do you want me to send you? She goes, a Porsche. I go, you're not getting a Porsche. And I said, you're not getting a Cholima either. She goes, we got the original one here. What do I need you to send to me for? She asked me to send her perfume and hand lotion. They don't have any. And I sent it to her.
What about like ass implants or like titties?
They have a lot of plastic surgery there.
Do plastic surgery.
Yes.
Hot.
So they do them at home, and they have the eye cuts to give them Western
the
eyes. They do that.
But that's popular all throughout Asia.
But then I'm saying some ladies doing in her house without antiseptic or anything. She's like a knife, and you got to bite down on something.
You got to understand. I believe I could do most surgeries.
By the way,
I do believe that.
Don't nothing look spookier than an Asian when you can see their eyes big as hell. I hate that shit. Looks spooky as fuck. It does. When they get that surgery and they get their eyes cut.
But that is black privilege. That is black privilege.
Am I lying though?
No, but neither of us could say that because there would be an all-out race war.
Why?
Because, bro, we don't have black privilege.
That surgery looks crazy as fuck. It does. When your eye, that shit looks ridiculous.
Why? What happens?
Nothing. It just looks spooky.
It looks anime a little bit.
It does look a little anime.
A little anime. A little Dragon Ball Z. It's a little Dragon Ball Z.
It looks like they saw Ghost.
Did you say it looks like they saw Ghost? Did you take the A out of there so it sounded more Asian?
So I guess like for me it's like, what do we do with North Korea? Like, what would you?
Yeah, what is the solution?
Great
question.
I was on Tucker Carlson's show. He goes, so what's the answer? I go, anyone who says they have an answer is lying.
Really?
So what happens in these regimes, if you look at Iraq, if you look at Libya, when these regimes go down, the people at the top are personally killed with good reason. So even if they wanted to loosen up, they couldn't. So it's fucked in every direction.
Right, so he's maintaining power is maintaining his life. Same thing with Assad in Syria. It's like I have to maintain power or literally everyone in my family's dead.
Yeah.
Not Khaled's son, by the way.
Yeah, not Khaled's son.
The only Assad we acknowledge is Khaled's son.
Okay, so Mike, this is random. Your next book, I didn't even know this until right before the interview. Your next book is about what you call the new right.
Correct.
Or the alt.
That's what I've been talking about.
The alt-right.
I feel like
the broader alt-right.
I feel like traditional conservatives, traditional people on the right are getting a bad rap from these new alt-right motherfuckers.
So he knows a bunch of these guys. You came up with Milo and
Gavin
Coulter and Gavin.
Yeah, so this goes back to 1992 when Pat Buchanan sat down with this guy named Murray Rothbard, who was an anarchist, and they kind of worked together. And Pat Buchanan gave this speech at the convention, and he said, we have a cultural war in this country, and all the real Republicans kind of lost their shit because and he was compared to Hitler by Mario Cuomo, and the comparisons to Hitler, are still here today, with sometimes a good reason. So this scene's been bubbling under, and they hate the Republicans like violently because
the alt-right.
I just call it new right because the alt-right are like the people who are actually like Nazis, but then there's the people who are like 4chan and like trolls who will like use Nazi imagery to kind of provoke people and to be obnoxious.
Can we just get them another direction? Like let it be up or down. Like you got the left, you got the right. Let's get them a whole other direction. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. For those of us who just started getting into politics. And I mean, I know for me personally, like I voted for the first time with Barack Obama. This is the first time I've really, really been into politics, but I've always known Republicans. I've always known conservatives. A lot of the views these alt-right people have, traditional Republicans, conservatives don't share these views.
Not in the slightest.
Right.
Not in the slightest.
That's dangerous.
They hate each other.
Can you give an example of some of those views and how there's a difference between the two versions of the party?
Well, here's the difference. So the Republican idea would be we go to Washington and we have an honest debate or even a dishonest debate with Democrats and we hash it out. We come to some kind of consensus.
Right.
The new right idea is because what they call the cathedral is being controlled by the media and the universities, by the time it gets to Washington, the battle's lost. So you got to focus on these predecessors, destroying the media, destroying the colleges, and then Washington is an afterthought. So basically everyone in Washington is hopeless and you got to start earlier with the programming.
So you got to start programming these kids.
So no, they're saying the kids are already being programmed. So how they view society is the kids are broken by public education, where the point of public education is to make you a good citizen, by which they mean obedient. And then you go to college and are programmed by college professors into being shock troops for the progressive ideology. So look, every reporter has gone to college, and if college is overwhelmingly run by progressives, then naturally everyone's going to have a bias when you write. I mean, you can't avoid that. So naturally, if all these reporters went to college, all these reporters are going to be projecting the progressive idea. So this is what they see as the problem. So it's much more about tactics than about having any discussion at all.
These are traditional conservatives, or
this is the new right. The traditional conservatives will be like, oh, we got to put our point of view out there, and in the battle of ideas, you'll win, most of them, blah blah blah. And they're like, so National Review is like the magazine for traditional conservatives.
Yeah.
And National Review's slogan was, we want to stand athwart history, yelling stop. And their whole point of view is, we don't want to yell, we want to actually stop things. We want to actually fuck shit up and ruin lives and destroy institutions, as opposed to like, well, we're losing, but at least we're losing on good terms. And that's why some of them ally with these white supremacists, white nationalists, because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So if they're going to have the votes, we might as well work with them, even if we don't agree with them. And there's a logic to that in a democracy.
It's like when the Italian mob and like the black mob started working together.
100%.
It's like, maybe neither of them like each other, but we're both doing shit underneath the table. So let's work.
So who's the new right working with?
They're working with they're with each other. I mean, this is Breitbart. Gotcha. But that's the thing. They're all united by what they hate, but they are not united in what they're for.
So the new right hates the progressive liberal agenda that you see in colleges. Mm-hmm. So do racist Nazi groups.
Right.
So the new right goes, hey, racist Nazi group, why don't we work together to get rid of this thing, even though we might disagree on what the future may hold, at least we'll get that enemy out of the way.
Yes.
Why does the new right lean, or not even lean, but why is it like such a thin line between the new right and white supremacy?
Well, because
nationalism.
They both hate the same thing. They both hate what they view as, like diversity being forced down everyone's throat. I'm using quotes. And multiculturalism and the idea that everyone's equal. And they're right in the sense that everyone is not equal. Some people are smarter than others, but the idea that this is divided by race or gender is weird. There's so many brilliant people of everything. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's so weird that they're getting so many new recruits, because like all of this mentality is such an old
But here's
mindset.
why they're getting good new recruits. Because when any group is marginalized in any way, they're an opportunity to critique culture. This is why Jews, blacks, gays have been so influential in creating what America is today in a cultural sense, right? So now increasingly young white males feel like they're being shut out. They are smarter than average, but they're not getting laid. So if you realize you're high, no, think about it. Hear me out.
It all comes back to pussy.
It does.
Absolutely.
If you are smarter than normal and you're a quality person in that sense, but the football player who you regard as beneath you is getting laid, this is going to bother you mentally.
But this has been going on for years.
But now they're organized. And now there's a place to tell you, you know what, you are awesome, and you could fuck with that football player, and you could fuck with the alpha people, and let's all get together and be trolls.
But this isn't new. Slater always got more pussy than Screech.
Yeah, but
that's just the way the game
Screech
goes.
didn't have a bunch of people to be like, isn't it fucked up that Slater gets more pussy?
Revenge of the Nerds was about this.
But Screech didn't have the internet to meet the Screech in the other school and the Screech in the other school.
You see what I'm saying?
So
So Twitter's connecting all these dorks.
And now these people have a lot of spare time, and they're really good with computers. If you have a bunch of people who spend all their time figuring out systems, and for example, Microsoft a year ago had a chat bot on Twitter, right? And she would talk to people. Within one day,
turned into a complete Nazi.
Within one day, they had her saying Hitler did nothing wrong, fuck me daddy, and all this
Jesus
other
Christ.
shit.
Yeah. That's the scariest part, this revisionist history that's going on.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the scariest part, because what if you don't know shit about politics and you see the fucking White House press secretary say what he said about
Holocaust
Hitler
centers.
And Jewish people? Like you're like, oh.
But you know,
like seriously,
I had an
because people don't do research, bro.
But I had an interesting. Obviously Sean Spicer's an absolute idiot for what he said. For anybody who doesn't know, he basically said that he was.
Hitler didn't use gas in his own
Hitler didn't use chemical weapons.
He was talking about Assad in Syria, and he was like, I mean, what he did is absolutely atrocious. Even Hitler, who's the worst person ever, didn't use gas during World War II or chemical weapons during World War II. Obviously, he killed millions of Jews with these chemical weapons, and the media went to shit on him, etc. Now, I think Spicer's an absolute idiot for saying that. That being said, you could make the argument that the liberal media has been comparing people who are not even close to Hitler.
Correct.
to Hitler for the last 2 years.
I don't know,
if some guy says to a woman, I don't think that you should get an abortion, immediately it's like, what are you, Hitler? What are you, Hitler, telling people not to get abortions?
And one of the points that they make, I make it for them in my book, is I'm sure that more white racists died in World War II fighting Hitler than New York City feminists.
Oh, absolutely.
See, this is the thing, right? I feel like this is why history is so important, because I feel like the further and further we get away from a lot of these historic events without actually doing research to them, like they seem less tragic. Like people will compare everything to slavery. He'll compare everything to Hitler. Like, no, these are like the worst shit that ever happened in our society.
You get it. Exactly.
But you got to be upset about that. But that's my point, is you have to be, not necessarily equally, but you have to be upset when some liberal feminist compares saying you could grab a girl's pussy to Hitler.
Somebody said that?
No matter what Trump said, he was Hitler.
So here's the thing: all of Trump's kids marry Jews too.
Yeah,
so
it's
the idea
weirdest.
I
don't think Trump got those by grabbing pussies. Though.
Trump was.
I don't think he got compared to Hitler for grabbing pussies.
Bro, Trump was called an anti-Semite the entire campaign.
He was called the Antichrist.
He was called the Antichrist, anti-Semite. He's a Hitler.
Klansman.
Constantly, he's a Klansman, Nazi, this, that, the
I think what they said, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was more so, this is how Hitler became Hitler. The Trump thing. It wasn't that he was like Hitler. It was like how Hitler became Hitler.
Louis C.K. sent out a mass email where he literally is like, where he said, I think there was a sentence where he goes, Trump is literally Hitler. This guy is literally Hitler.
But
he used the word
and
literally.
that he's trying to reach out to a Klansman. It's like, there are a lot of racists in this country, but literally Klansmen, there are not that many.
It's
Klansmen.
few. Now, okay, so the point being is you have to be equally upset at this. Like I get frustrated when I hear athletes compare themselves to slaves, right? Because I think it's an insult to what slaves went through.
Absolute insult.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I feel the same thing should apply when liberals try to get attention for their argument, right, by saying, this is just like Hitler, this is just like Nazi. Or even they do with rape all the time. Like a guy asks a girl, hey, how you doing on the street? It's like, this is rape culture. Stop calling that rape in any way, shape, or form. You're just using rape to get attention for this microaggression that you're feeling right now.
I think, and I also think people need to stop getting their information from social media, because a lot of these conversations start on social media, and then real media grabs onto them. And like, because I swear I saw Hitler being compared to Donald Trump on social media.
Of course.
Before I ever saw it in mainstream.
Once it got a lot of retweets, CNN's like, oh, we should probably go with this.
This is a great one.
This works.
This is what
I honestly think that it's a function of people being so stupid that they can't name another dictator except for Hitler. I swear to God, that's my belief.
They don't know enough about history.
I bet you.
Go with some other guys. We got Stalin.
Maybe he's more like Mussolini. Who?
Yeah, are there any lesser known
dictators? Why are you comparing them to painters?
It's levels to this dictatorship.
Exactly right.
Is there anybody on the bottom that we can compare Trump to?
Yeah. Because right now, over the weekend in Turkey, the
Erdogan,
president, he literally had a vote that says he basically has unlimited powers, which is how Hitler got into power. And everyone's like, yeah, but Trump, I mean, chocolate cake, he's orange.
Exactly.
I mean, that's a good way to put it, because Trump's body count is very low compared to other dictators.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he's just started killing people
far.
in the past
He's
couple
just in his first 100 days.
I
mean, give him some time.
He couldn't even repeal Obamacare. Let's suppose he did. Okay, we're back to, 2007. That's a ways before the Holocaust. You know what I mean? We got to go back to the 40s for that.
He's got some time.
When's that book coming out? I'm definitely reading
in the fall.
That.
Oh, so you're almost there. Now, do you address the Milos, the Gavins, the Coulters?
Yeah.
We were talking earlier, but what is your take on Milo? Can he rebound from this?
I talked about, I actually guest hosted Gavin's show once. I don't think, so one of the things that the New Right talks about is that the left doesn't get over by persuading people of their ideas. They get over by using stigma and taboo and making people radioactive. And once that person's radioactive, you don't have to ever deal with them again, right? And I think they did this to Milo, because Milo's point, they tried to hit him with a lot of different things, white supremacy, this and that. You know, he was making these very inappropriate comments about how he was young and he was molested as a kid, let's say 13 or 12. But he goes, look, it's different for gays, and it's something I enjoyed. Now, either he's telling the truth that's different for gays, or it's something that, like, you got fucked up and now you're trying to rationalize it and make it like it's not that bad. And all the headlines were, Milo thinks children should be raped. And it's like, no, this is someone who went through something that at the very least was confusing to him as a kid, and is something that I can't relate to as a straight guy. And it's just like, but at this, all they hear is like, now we have an excuse to throw him overboard. You hear child.
So people got to stop. They got to. Well, he shouldn't have generalized all gays. Like, he shouldn't have made it seem like this is something that happens to all gays. This is what happened to me.
But,
Milo
but it is
fucked up.
much more, but it is much more common in gay culture than in straight culture, where you have an older man, especially back in the day when you were closeted, you had to have that older dude show you the ropes, you know what I
Right.
mean, and show you.
It's like
what's
prison.
going on.
You know
Yeah,
what
it
I
is
mean?
like prison.
Yeah.
I mean, I got molested by an older woman. An older woman showed me the ropes when I was 8.
That's something.
I talk about it in my new book, Black Privilege: Opportunity Comes to Those Who
What
Create It,
law
which
is
is out
that?
now.
Get you some pussy before you're in double digits.
I don't even remember what principle that's in. But I mean, like I had an older woman show me the ropes per se, but I didn't blame that on I didn't say this is something that happens
you didn't
to all
justify
men.
it.
Yeah.
You didn't
But
make
it's
sure it
not.
was
But
okay.
it's not. When you're 12, and again, back in the day, much more. When you're 12 and you're gay and you're told it's gross, and it's any of us when we grow up, we start having sexual feelings. It's kind of weird and confusing.
Right.
I'm sure it's even more confusing when it's like, wait a minute, you're looking at dudes instead of girls, and then some older dude comes along and he's like, this
And
is
gives you
okay.
some fire head.
Yeah.
Well, even before the head, I think the argument is this is the first person in your life that's going to say this is okay,
Yeah.
because everybody else who's 12 doesn't think it's okay yet
Or
because
even know
they're
what it
surrounded
is.
by these
Yeah, of
images,
course,
right?
yeah.
Like there are very few families that are just. First of all, there's very few families that you grow up that are gay. Right, like
Right.
if your mom and dad are your mom and
Right.
dad, they're probably not gay.
Right.
So this is your
Right.
image of what is supposed to
Right.
be in a consensual adult sexual relationship. My thing with Milo is at least what I was always fascinated by is I thought he was the perfect spokesperson because he checked off every box that they would try to use to make him radioactive.
Yeah, he had a black boyfriend.
Right? He fucks black guys, which I don't know if he does,
Or
but
is
he
fucked
can at
by
least,
them.
or is fucked by them, right?
He's
So
gay.
you can't say he hates black people. He's gay, so you can't say he's homophobic. He is what else?
Part Jewish.
Oh yeah, he's part Jewish, so you can't say he's an anti-Semite. It's like every single thing that the left would use
And
to
he's
make
British,
someone.
which makes him sound smarter.
Well, that just works for the insecurity complex,
yeah.
right? But like everything that the left would use to make somebody seem wrong, right? Would make somebody seem radioactive, as you said.
Yeah.
He checked off, so you couldn't say those things about him. And then all of a sudden, he says boy fucking's okay on some level. Boom, radioactive.
Well,
You're
here's the
fucking
thing. So Republicans complain that Democrats have political correctness. Republicans have their own political correctness, which are things like the military, the police, recreational drug use, and children and sexuality. So when you try talking about those with like right-wing people, right away, it's like their hackles get up and it's like it's going to be a tense situation. So he hit that last one. The big surprise was when Trump went after McCain and he didn't get shit for it because military and the right wing,
Yeah, man.
That's
That's why I call Trump Teflon, because there's a lot of people that he insulted he's supposed to be done.
who are working for him now.
The women, that's what I'm saying. Women, he hired people that are anti-Jewish.
Yes.
He went after John McCain in the military. It's kind of unbelievable, bro.
Well, that was a rumor about Bannon being anti-Jewish.
No, it wasn't.
He hired a lot of Jewish people.
Yeah, but remember he said he didn't want his kids to go to a school
No, that was
where Jewish
so
people.
this is
went
what's
to?
so important about hearing the context and like reading the whole article, because the headline of the article was Bannon said he didn't want his kid to go to a Jewish school. Then I read the article and it was in the divorce hearings, his wife, who he's divorcing and in a custody battle with, says that that's what Bannon said to her.
Jesus.
Anything that happens in a divorce hearing, immediately you don't believe.
True.
It's absolute nonsense, right?
True.
Complete bullshit. So from people, I mean, even the most conservative people like Ben Shapiro, super conservative
Yes.
guy, he was
But
asked.
he hates the new right.
He hates the new right. He doesn't like Breitbart. He used to work at Breitbart. Hates Breitbart. And he was asked, "Do you think that Bannon is an anti-Semite?" He is like, "I got none of that personally."
Right.
You know,
And he's like the most proud Jew in the world. So
It's
he would
really
come out.
funny because like I'll engage with these people, and every so on Twitter, right? They'll be like, "When are you
Oh,
going?"
you're a great troll on Twitter.
That's great.
by
I'm the
way.
best.
Yeah,
And they're
yeah.
like, when are you going to go full 1488? That's their code. And I go, is this
1488.
I'll tell you in a second what that stands for. I go, is this when I tell you I went to yeshiva, which is Jewish school? And then they start tweeting at each other because they get all freaked out because they thought I was one of them. So 1488 is how they.
That's the Inquisition. Right?
Yeah. That's their number. So 1488, 88 is Hail Hitler because Hitler's H, the eighth letter of the
Jesus
alphabet,
Christ.
and 14 is like the 14 words. I will preserve our country for our white progeny, but something like that. I don't remember what it is. It's really funny because I was telling people at Fox about all this stuff, and they're just like laughing it off. I was talking about this like in 2015, and they're just like, I'm like, these people are coming for you. This is where the intellectual momentum on the right is.
Okay,
They're
Kim
like,
Jong Un scaring your troops, scaring your
was I
fucking
wrong?
citizens for no reason.
Was I wrong? What do you mean for no reason?
Nah, you were right, but I don't think they can win. And the reason I don't think they can win because they don't really have no real leadership. Because I think at the end of the day,
But
everybody.
neither is Al Qaeda, right? You got the little cells.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, everybody likes people that are authentic. And all of their so-called leaders are seeming to be full of shit. They don't even believe the bullshit that they're spewing.
I don't think they have. I agree with you. They don't have leaders, but I do think that there is an authenticity among trolls. I think trolls genuinely like fucking shit up. I like fucking shit up. What about that thing with Sheila LaBeouf? What they're doing with him?
Shia
LaBeouf.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened with Shia LaBeouf.
So, this is what they did. So basically, he had a flag that said "He will not divide us." They got a drone and dropped a "Make America Great" hat on top of it, right? Then he moved the flag to then they moved the flag to Belgium. They figured out what building it was. Someone parkoured, climbed up the building, and stole the flag. So if you had a movie and you're like, okay, you got this army of international trolls and they got a guy in Belgium who knows how to Spider-Man up a wall and get out of here, it happened.
Yeah.
And they're driving him crazy because wherever he moves the flag, one time they figured out where the flag was based on the star formations and flight patterns.
Yeah.
Because these are all nerds who are really good with computers.
Man, we
and
should
they
have
have a lot
never
of
let
time.
them get the internet, these nerds.
We should
The
be like
internet's
North
going to be
Korea.
the end of us.
Let's
Real
be like
talk.
North Korea.
We need to be like North Korea. America was
Right.
a simpler place when it was just factories people worked in, almost like these concentration camps. It's not that bad. I mean, what is it?
Wait,
What
but
is
back in-
Industrial
back in the-
Revolution America?
But you know why though? Because they always say anybody who can control the media controls the minds of the
Yes.
masses. And now,
Yes.
back in the day, they do media blackouts when there was a riot somewhere, so it don't spread across the country.
Right.
Now you can't control this shit.
First thing that you do in a coup is take over the media, right?
Yes.
You capture the president, and then or the military coup, and then the second thing is take over the state-sponsored media, etc. So you can control the narrative.
I like how you said we shouldn't compare Trump to Hitler. That you're like working in a factory is like a concentration camp.
I mean, General Motors. Shout out to GM.
That's some New York shit. Like only a New Yorker would think working in a factory is like working at a concentration
Bro,
camp.
I'm Scottish. My whole family is factory workers back in the day.
Oh my God! What number do they have tattooed on them?
I don't know.
Star 69. I'm fucking Patrick Ewing's jersey number. When y'all win a championship? What year y'all win a championship?
I don't
78?
want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. All right? I don't want to talk about nothing. All
Well,
right?
the Knicks
Stop
won.
it. Stop it. We're not talking about the Knicks right now. All right. So basically, what do you think is the future of this? All of the new right? Do you think there is a future of it? Are they all going? Are they going to be essentially a terror cell? Are they going to be
Yes,
like an extreme
I think it's going to be much
conservative terror
more.
cell?
It's going to
So
because
they're ISIS. They're Republican ISIS.
well, I don't think they're Republican per se, and I think they have a lot more appeal than National Review or these conservatives. You're 16, some dude, and you like video games or you like computers. You're not going to be watching fucking Mitch McConnell or Paul Ryan and be like, "That's my boy."
Yeah.
But you are going to be seeing Shia LaBeouf like having meltdowns and
Yeah.
like this is funny, legit funny.
Now I see why you can't give these people a platform.
Yo-
Because it legitimizes them and makes them look cool.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
Milo looks
yes,
cool on
yes,
Bill Maher.
yes. Donald Trump looked. How much cooler did Donald Trump look than Jeb Bush on that stage?
Oh, crazy.
I mean, forget it.
Crazy.
The second debate.
Yeah.
This is my favorite moment of the campaign. The second debate. The first question goes to Carly Fiorina. Do you trust Donald Trump with his finger in the nuclear button? She gives some answer about trusting the voters. Mr. Trump, your response. This is what he says. Why is Rand Paul even on the stage? He's terrible. He's at 1% of the polls. He shouldn't even be here. And Rand Paul's like, what? That was the first thing out of his mouth.
You forget even the question that was
Yes.
asked. You
Why
just
is
you like his flamboyance. You like his
Yes.
arrogance. The
Yes.
fact he's boisterous. Yeah.
He's talking about how big his dick was during a presidential debate. This actually happened.
It's not a problem.
I assure you, believe me, never a problem.
Listen, thank you for coming, man.
Yo,
man.
bro, thanks so much, Mike. I
Thanks,
appreciate
man.
you. We
Where can
gotta
they
get
follow
you
you,
back
man?
on, man.
Michael Malice on Twitter. The book's called Dear Reader.
For real, once North Korea blows up South Korea, we'd love to have you back on to talk
Oh,
about
God,
it, man.
absolutely.
Yeah, talk
Yeah.
about your great prediction. All right. Amazing prediction.
You didn't listen to me. I was telling you guys.
Thank you.
In that voice.
All right, look.
All right, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Oh, man. Schultz, do you see who's back on the Brilliant Idiots?
Who's back on here?
Our old friends at FanDuel.
Hey!
Okay. Now, haven't tried fantasy golf on FanDuel yet? Well, you should. It's easy. Pick your contest, choose your team, watch live, and win cash prizes. Something for everybody. Lots of contests to choose from, starting at just $1. Hurry and make sure to submit your lineup before tee off Thursday morning. There's more than golf on FanDuel. Daily fantasy basketball, daily fantasy baseball, new contests every day. Play as often as you want. Play in big tournaments or play against your friends. Personally, we're following the NBA playoffs this year. After that, we might switch over to some MLB or maybe even some golf. It's all good on FanDuel.
Personally, we're following the NBA playoffs this year.
I just said that.
Well, I wasn't paying attention.
I know you weren't.
Look, I was saying goodbye to our guests, my brother. I was saying goodbye to our guests. I'm worried about South Korea. I'm trying to make sure they're good. Anyway, did you go through the whole thing, or is there more for me to say?
You can start with over 2.5 million
I'm just
players.
saying over 2.5 million players have won a cash prize playing fantasy sports. So, I mean, FanDuel, that's where you got to do it. That's not even a question. So try it today. Now, new users will get FanDuel's combo 5-pack valued up to $50. That's 5 free entries to a combination of 50-50 beginner contests, okay? Just finish in the top half, you win cash. Not that big a deal. Just make that money. To get your 5 free entries, go to FanDuel.com, click the Join Now button, enter the promo code BRILLIANT. That's FanDuel.com, promo code BRILLIANT. Okay? Make sure it happens.
And it's void where prohibited.
Oh, yeah, void where prohibited.
Now, listen, please go to BrilliantIdiotsMerch.com. Order some Brilliant Idiots merchandise. You might want a hoodie. You might want a shirt. You might want some socks, whatever. You know, if you consider yourself a brilliant idiot, then go get you some Brilliant Idiots merchandise, man.
Get you those socks.
There you go. You got the socks on right now.
Let's go. You know it.
Salute to High U Clothing, BrilliantIdiotsMerch.com. And my book is out right now, Black Privilege. Opportunity comes to those who create it. Now, listen, we're recording this on Monday.
Yeah.
Because as you know, I'm making my rounds this week. I did The View. I did The Colbert Show.
You were staying busy like a North Korean.
Yes, absolutely. I did Good Day New York. You know, today I'm in LA at the Grove, the Barnes and Nobles at the Grove at 6 p.m. Carrie Champion moderating that. So I've been running around all week. So we had to tape this on Monday because I wasn't going to be here. But I really don't even want to talk about the book until next week. And what I mean by I'm gonna talk about it, but I want to give people a chance to read it.
Yeah, let them have their own opinions on it.
That's the most fun part. More so than hearing about sales and numbers. The best part is people hitting me up about the actual book, because the book is like anything else to me. It's content that we create. We're content creators, you know. And contrary to popular belief, I wrote my book. You know, Chris Moreau definitely helped me to flush the book out and turn it into a book. But the stories you're going to read, the things that were said, the principles, that's all me. You know, so I'm not like these people that sit down in front of a recorder and just talk, and then let somebody, you know, transcribe it for me. Like, I actually got up every Saturday morning and wrote. So it means a lot to me. So when I'm hearing these stories back from people and people telling me they enjoyed the book and they're empowered by the book, that's exactly what I want you to feel. And I love having these discussions about privilege, because like I've been telling people, I feel like it's a privilege to be black, just like it should be a privilege to be whatever it is that you are. And I feel like when you're talking about, you know, black privilege, you're talking about something that's spiritual as opposed to something that's systemic. And I feel like we all have access to this divine system that we can tap into to help us prosper in spite of. And everybody will be like, oh, that's easy for you to say, Charlamagne, because you're on TV and you're on radio and you got a podcast. And I'm like, well, success is subjective. If I'm living in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm making $40,000 a year, and I got me a nice place to stay, and I got me a car, and my wife is fine, and my kids are doing good, and I'm healthy, that's a success to me. Like, we got to stop comparing our success to everybody else's, and especially in America, where success is usually defined by celebrity and it's usually defined by fame. Bro, it is way more successful people that you don't know out here than it is the ones that you do. Trust me. And if we're talking about, you know, the whole basis of privilege being based on success, then I'm not that privileged. It's a bunch of more people out here way more privileged than me.
There will always be somebody more successful.
There'll always be somebody more successful.
If you define your success by being the most successful, keep in mind it is highly unrealistic that there's going to be somebody out there that isn't more successful than you, especially at what you're doing. There can only be one Jordan.
Yes.
And you know what? Jordan's no longer the best basketball player alive.
Well, that's not true.
No, meaning currently.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
At 50, whatever
old.
years old.
Absolutely.
So you have to search for happiness through your own self-worth and your own self-satisfaction. Sometimes.
Great example.
Yeah, go.
LeBron James. As great as LeBron is, the king of this era, best basketball player we've seen in the past 15, maybe.
Sure.
Still chasing Jordan's ghost.
Sure.
So at what point does LeBron say, I'm LeBron. It's a privilege to be LeBron.
Good enough.
I'm great. I'm good enough. And that's all I'm saying. Like, yo, I'm not negating white supremacy. I'm not negating like, you know, any of the obstacles that we've had to face. We know all of those things are very real. But guess what? I'm focusing on goals as opposed to obstacles, because the obstacles are always going to be there.
Yeah, I think
always.
I've noticed that you've had to address this idea of by saying that you have privilege within your blackness, that you're somehow saying that there is no such thing as white supremacy.
Yeah.
And I think it's smart that you address it, because you can nip it at the bud before trolls run with it.
Absolutely.
But in reality, I don't think that those things are opposite sides of the same coin. I think that if the message is self-acceptance and realizing your self-worth and having that unwavering confidence based on how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
You know, success can be trying to achieve your dreams.
Yeah.
Even if you haven't achieved them just yet, but the attempt to achieve is success because you are following your fucking dream.
That's
what
it.
a great life
That's it.
to live. So that in and of itself can be privilege. It doesn't mean Jim Crow didn't exist. It doesn't mean there wasn't slavery. It doesn't mean there wasn't a lasting legacy of white supremacy in American government structures.
I can feel like it's a privilege to be black and still fight against systemic oppression.
Of course.
Still fight against institutionalized racism. What I'm trying to explain to you is that your black skin is not a burden. Your black skin is not a liability. Your gender is not a burden. Your gender is not a liability. Your sexuality is not a burden. It's not a liability. That's who God designed you to be.
Sure.
So you have to find privilege in that.
Yeah, and your privilege, you could argue, is not a liability. Like, there are people who would be told every single day, oh, you're incredibly privileged, this, that, and the other. And he goes, okay, but that doesn't mean you should stop working.
Did you hear what Louis C.K.'s joke was phenomenal,
What
by the way. People got mad at him. I can't quote the joke exactly, but he was like, look, white privilege is totally unfair. But since we got it, can I use it to cut the line or whatever? Whatever it was. Like, yo, we're all looking for advantages in some way, shape, or form. So what bothers me about the whole white privilege, white supremacy conversation, we know all of those things exist, but I think sometimes it produces a black inferiority complex, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody to feel like that. I want us to feel like, bro, it's a privilege to be who you are. That's who God designed you to be. You think God's really looking down like, yo, you're privileged, you're not. Listen, I totally understand the system that America has created.
Sure.
But I think we're connected to a bigger divine system
And
that
you're
will
not
help
negating
us.
it.
That will help us prosper in spite of. And guess what? We got to be the change we want to see in the world.
Absolutely.
Like, we're the generation that can change this whole system of things that we live in. Period.
One of my biggest issues with, I don't want to label them all, but like the kind of social justice warrior types, or like the victimization seekers, the people out there, searching for how people they're a victim every single day, is you have a group of young black kids that grew up with all they knew was a black president, a black first lady, 2 black kids in the White House,
A lot of
black
rich
billionaires,
black people,
black CEOs, black people in government, black people in the police force, black people everywhere, black people on TV, black people in positions of power in movies, and you're telling these kids that they don't have privilege, that they're not as privileged, and that their life is worse because they're black. Now, I'm not arguing that potentially that could be the case with some of these kids, but you're planting a seed inside these kids' heads of lack of privilege, right? These kids, if they just grew up in the suburbs and all they saw was Barack, they're like, my life's pretty good and I could be president. You're telling them that their life isn't good, and that is my concern with these fake-ass social justice warriors.
My daughter
You're
talks
making them think that they have less privilege.
Yes, my daughter is 8. She talks about being the president.
Shit,
Like,
of course.
straight up.
Of course, that's the effect of representation.
Don't nothing look out of reach to her. And I'm not going to let anybody poison her to make her think otherwise. So
you got to let her know that won't happen because she's a woman.
No, I'm not telling her that either.
Sorry,
somebody's going to shatter that glass ceiling. I mean, I get it, but somebody's going to shatter.
It won't be your black skin, sweetheart, but it will be.
It could be because,
vagina.
but guess what? Somebody's going to shatter that glass ceiling eventually. See, I'm the type of person.
Of course,
I'm different because I focus on what we do have as opposed to what we don't have, and I'm one of those people. All I need to see is one person do it, Pete.
That's it.
I'm reading a book right now. Listen, I'm telling y'all, man. First of all, buy my book. Black Privilege Opportunity Comes to Those Who Create It. But Ryan Holiday is my favorite author right now. He wrote Ego is the Enemy, but he wrote a book called Obstacle is the Way. And Obstacle is the Way is about turning trials into triumphs. And in this book, man, he talks about how you're going to have obstacles. You're going to have things that get in your way. But he was like, I forgot it was a baseball player. It was a baseball player that played for like 26 years. I can't remember his name right now.
Franco? He played until he was like 43 years old or something like that?
Mad old.
Yeah,
he was playing for the Yankees for a little while, a little stint,
And then,
whatever. He had an injury that was so bad. It was like only one in like 500 people ever came back from this injury.
Sure.
And so now they've named the injury. They named the surgery after him.
Oh, Tommy John surgery?
Tommy something.
Tommy John's.
Tommy John.
Yeah.
Tommy John.
Yeah, every pitcher that tears that little ligament in their elbow gets Tommy John surgery.
Tommy John.
Yeah.
It talks about his mentality.
Tommy John.
Tommy John's mentality was, if you tell him that there's a possibility, if you tell him there's a slight chance, like Powerball, 1 in 5 billion people win. In his mind, okay, I'm gonna be that one.
You gotta be Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber.
He's like, I'm gonna be that one.
So you're
that
saying
was
there's a
his
chance.
mindset. Like, they told him things like he'd never be able to even like use his arm again.
Right.
Nonetheless, play baseball.
Right.
He said when he got cut from, I think it was, I don't remember what team he got cut from, but the Yankees invited him to camp. Or maybe it was the Yankees that cut him, but then they invited him back. And he told the Yankees, so listen, if I come out here, am I going to get a fair shot? And he was like, whatever, man, whatever. And he's like, no, seriously, I need to know. Is there a chance I can get on this team? They told him, yeah. He went out there and he got on that motherfucking team.
Sure.
So all I'm saying is, all I need to see is one person do it. That's all it takes. All it takes is one good story to change your mindset, bro.
Tommy John is a great example of privilege, right? Or of turning something bad into something good.
Yeah.
Right? Because look at the surgery, like the Tommy John surgery. You tear this ligament in your elbow. They take another ligament from your body and they put it back in your elbow. Now, there are pitchers who have come back from Tommy John surgery, pitch faster. Now, some people would look at that surgery and look at the fact that they don't have a ligament in their elbow and go, you know what, I should quit baseball. Other people work that much harder on developing the muscles around their elbow. And when they develop the muscles around their elbow, they add a couple miles per hour to their pitching. So here's a perfect example of how your struggle or the shit that you have to overcome can actually make you better at what it is that you do.
Listen, that's why I love the
you
whole...
think Jordan would be as good as he was if he didn't lose the first, 8 years in the league?
Jordan said... He's Michael Jordan because of all the shots he missed.
There we go.
He's Michael Jordan. He got cut from his high school basketball team.
Sure.
Like, look, in life there is going to be obstacles, man. And there's no way, even as a black person, you can look at everything we've been through. And like Maya Angelou says, still I rise. And not think we're connected to something greater that helps us to prosper in spite of.
Yeah.
I truly believe in God's divine privilege. The fact that we're here is a privilege, bro. Like, you bust a nut, 400 motherfucking million sperm cells.
Sure.
One created everybody in this room.
Yeah.
Yo, it's a privilege to breathe.
Yeah.
Whatever God put me here as, that's what I am, and I got to find privilege in that.
And even if you don't believe in God in the same way as somebody else does, essentially the idea is that these things that you have to overcome make you stronger.
Absolutely.
Right? And regardless of who you are, if you're black, you're Latino, you're white, it doesn't matter. Like
Asian, Jewish,
it doesn't matter.
Don't
You
matter.
will have shit to overcome in your life. And once you realize that the shit that you have to overcome prepares you for life itself, because life is overcoming struggle, right? Then you will appreciate in a weird way these struggles.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, I failed this time. You know what I mean? I just came back from failure.
Yeah.
Oh shit, failure ain't scary.
And by the way, if you believe that your oppressor is here to keep you oppressed and here to marginalize you, why would he ever want you to believe
That you could
that you got some type of privilege that you could actually succeed? It's easier to keep his foot on your neck when he makes you believe that you're lesser than.
Sure, absolutely.
That you can't get things done because of the color of your skin. I was having a conversation, this dude went off on me in social media because he was saying, fuck you, trying to spin this whole concept of black privilege. Trayvon Martin didn't have black privilege. Sandra Bland didn't have black privilege. I said, yes, they did. See, what you're doing right now is victim blaming. You're victim shaming because, like I said, your black skin is not a burden. Your black skin is not a liability. Yes, it's going to be circumstantial things that you just can't avoid. Sure. It's not Trayvon Martin's fault that he was walking through a neighborhood minding his black business, and George Zimmerman came through with his insecurities and his fears and his bigotry and his, racism
that he couldn't overcome.
That's not Trayvon's fault. That's not Trayvon. We don't know what Trayvon would have ended up being. And guess what? We'll never find out because of the shortcomings of somebody else.
Exactly.
Not because of the shortcomings of Trayvon.
George Zimmerman couldn't realize his privilege.
Come on,
and
man.
He was a prisoner of failure. He was a prisoner of his insecurities. He was a prisoner of all these problems.
Come on, man.
Right? Exactly. So you're looking at this the exact opposite way. You want to see the privilege? The privilege is a young man realizing, hey, I could walk around this neighborhood.
Minding my business.
Mind some business, eat some Skittles, because that's what I should do in this country that is my country, and I do whatever the fuck I want. The problem is this psychopath asshole who is completely insecure and hasn't exercised their privilege and is too pussy and afraid to challenge himself and potentially fail, and then ends up creating this, horrible tragedy.
That's why I said it's going to be circumstantial things that are out of your control.
Absolutely.
But what we need to start focusing on is the things that we can control. And once again, I can fight systemic oppression, institutionalized racism, and still embrace the privilege that I feel God gave me, whether that privilege is being a man, whether that privilege is being black. Shit, I talk about South Carolina privilege on Colbert's show.
Sure.
I've been on Colbert's show 4 times.
Sure.
The fuck I'm supposed to be? What am I doing that I'm on Gobert show 4 times? Mm-hmm. Steve's looking out for me because he sees a fellow South Carolinian.
Right.
Simple as that.
Yep.
And I like, hey, salute. Steve wrote something for the back of my book.
Amazing.
I'm not a Daily Show alumni. Right? Only Daily Show alumni get that kind of shit from the Colberts and the Jon Stewarts and John Olivers of the world. So I can't wait to really discuss.
Exercise your fucking. You know what we should do? We should
embrace your
privilege. Exercise. What we should do is we should practice. I know this sounds weird, but we should practice failure. Right? I feel like we don't embrace failure enough. We criticize failure when we should celebrate it. Right? Like when you see your buddy go talk to a girl and she rejects him, like what we naturally do is we go make fun of him. We're like, she clowns or whatever like that. But we should we should literally look at him and be like, yo, bro, you try to get that pussy. Okay, shit, well done.
Yeah, I talk about that in the book. But
the same applies to opportunities. Yeah. Same applies for starting a podcast. Same applies for auditioning for a role. Same applies for, trying to sell a TV show. Whatever it is, you should try. Failure shouldn't inhibit you.
Failure should actually fuel you.
Failure should fuel you, but it shouldn't fuel you. It shouldn't fuel you in the way like, oh my God, if I fail, I'm a loser. Failing doesn't make you a loser.
No.
Not trying makes you a loser.
Not trying makes you a loser, and not continuing to try after failure makes you a motherfucking loser.
So if you're embracing the fact that you're a victim, you're failing.
Listen, I've been fired 4 times from radio, and I talk about it in the book. I believe in divine misdirection, because every time I would get fired, they would say, look, Charlamagne, we're moving in another direction. My homegirl, Kendra G, she said to me, yo, it's not them moving you in another direction. It's God moving you in another direction. Yep. And I truly believe that. Like, It's like instead of focusing on what you don't have anymore, just sometimes look around, take a deep breath, and realize where you're at.
Exactly.
Sometimes when you realize where you're at, you know where you're going.
There we go.
Simple as that.
Life will move you in another direction. If there's anything that we learned from that United flight, is that
whether you want to or not, all right? Whether you want to or not,
you're going to be moved.
You're going to be moved, goddammit. All right? That is actually a great motherfucking analogy, all right? Because you thought sitting in this seat was exactly where you needed to be.
No,
in
sir,
this
Dr.
moment.
Dow.
No. I talk about that in the book, too. Sometimes the good plan you have is not exactly God's plan for you, all right? And you going to get moved whether you want to or not. So, hey, man, sometimes you can do it the easy way. Sometimes you can do it the hard way. But guess what? It's going to get done.
Hey, did you see that United basically did the exact same shit that we said on the podcast last week?
What?
Last week we said on the podcast, just up the offer to 10 grand.
No, that's Delta.
No, but United too. United said
that
United said that now they gave permission to their staff workers to offer up to 10 grand for the ticket. This is days after we said that shit.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
If you're flying commercial and they offer you $10,000 for your seat and you don't take it,
you're ISIS.
You might need to get dragged off. Yeah, you might.
Well, no, next time that shit is overbooked, someone needs to set up and be like, listen, we get 10K out of this shit. I need everybody shut up. We're going to split it equally between everybody.
Hey, man, let's pay some bills.
All right.
Now, these days, you can get practically everything on demand. Like our podcast, listen whenever you want, when it's convenient for you. So why are you still going to the post office and dealing with their limited hours when you can get posters on demand with Stamps.com?
Anything that you can do at the post office, you can now do right from your desk with Stamps.com. Buy and print official U.S. postage from any letter or package using your own computer and printer, okay? And unlike the post office, Stamps.com never closes, so you can get postage whenever you need it 24/7.
Just to be clear, Stamps.com is what the Brilliant Idiots use to send out all that incredible merch you've been getting from BrilliantIdiotsMerch.com. The t-shirts, the hoodies, the hats, all that is sent with the help of Stamps.com. And if we were using actual physical stamps to send all that stuff out, you'd still be waiting for your order. We never get our shit together. But with Stamps.com, it's been as easy as 1, 2, 3, even for idiots.
That's why right now, use our code IDIOTS for this special offer. 4-week trial includes postage and a digital scale. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com before you do anything else. Click on the radio microphone at the top of the homepage and type in idiots. That's Stamps.com. Enter code idiots. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again.
I want to talk about something you said just now about opportunity, because that's the subtitle of my book.
Sure.
Opportunity comes to those who create it. Do y'all realize y'all live in the best time to create your own opportunities? I mean, we've said that on this podcast a million times, but literally anything you want to do, all you got to do is go fucking do it.
Go do it.
Like my TV career started because me and Duval said, look, we're going to start doing these Hood State of the Union videos and posting them on YouTube, and they were going viral, and people at MTV saw these and was like, oh, these dudes would be good on television. That's what's happening to a lot of people nowadays, by the way.
Bro.
You want to be a broadcaster, you start a fucking podcast. You want to be a writer, you start writing. Literally, the definition of author is somebody who publishes like a blog or a book or anything. Like,
blog, dude.
Right.
Do microblogs. Do one of those. I see people doing this all the time on Twitter. They, instead of doing one tweet, what they'll do is like 10 tweets. They'll label them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they'll do a nice little story within 10 tweets.
Yeah.
And it's cool. You get this thing out there. It can be shared, and there's virility with it. There's opportunity.
I see people that want to be chefs. They're cooking up meals and posting them on Instagram,
Shout out
doing
to
viral
Heather B.
videos. Who?
Heather B.
Oh, from Sway?
Yeah.
She looked like she can cook her ass.
Oh, she can cook her ass off. She's got a thing called the Happy Hour or something like that, and she always posts it on her Instagram. These cool
Really?
little recipe. Heather's great. I love Heather. But
I've never seen it.
But yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, like I'm saying, it's like this is the best time.
Yo,
to
let's
create
fail this
opportunity.
week. We got to get over our fear of failure. Let's fail this week. Everybody who's listening, start some shit that you were afraid to do. And if you fail, you fucking fail, but you did it. That's the success that you actually did it. But everybody do something, man.
I would rather be sitting around discussing a bad shot I took and how to improve on that shot to make it better than to be sitting around saying, damn, why didn't I shoot that shot?
Yep.
Execution is important. I talk about that in the book as well. Like, we all have these great ideas.
But how do you get good at executing?
By failing.
And repeating.
How do you know what works?
Thank you.
Yo, the first time I ever went bowling, I bowled a strike. Right? No, dead ass serious. First time ever in my life, I was a young kid, bowled a strike. And I remember in my mind, me like, oh, shit.
This shit easy.
I'm about to be the man at bowling. I think it was like my friend's father goes, that's beginner's luck.
Yeah.
I think I rolled gutter balls the whole rest of the fucking time. Because I had to learn how to bowl. You know what I'm saying? So once you actually learn how to do something, then you can talk about being good at it.
Bro, I went to college, right? My first semester, I got all A's, right? I go, literally after my first semester, not even trying at all, partying, everything, I got all A's. I'm like, yo, college is easy as fuck. The next 3 semesters, I almost failed right out of college.
Jesus Christ.
Because I rolled that strike, right? So I applied the same effort from that strike. Sometimes when you fail up front, you realize the effort you need to put in
you got that
to get all the A's.
Absolutely.
Failure is good in the beginning, man.
And I tell people, there's no such thing as failure. There's no such thing as a loss if you learn from it. So if you're the type of person that can't stand to hear those words, failure and loss, just say, hey, you either win or you learn.
Win or learn.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
I've never felt like I've taken a loss. I only feel like I've taken a loss when I didn't learn anything from the situation that I was in.
Yeah.
Simple as that. I want to learn things from everything.
Yeah.
That's why one of my principles in the book is give people the credit they deserve for being stupid, including yourself. Because every day I wake up wanting to be receptive. I wake up wanting to learn more. Like, I'm way too dumb to be closed-minded, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, open up your motherfucking brain and learn what's going on. So I really just want to have a discussion about black privilege and opportunity. Black privilege opportunity comes to those who create it.
Right.
Like after about a week or so, when people have actually read the book, and I'm looking forward to reading your SoundCloud comments about it and getting the tweets about it. It's been getting such a very good. It's been getting very good feedback thus far.
Why don't we at least next week, when people have gone through it, why don't we take a little excerpt from maybe the first chapter, and something that was very profound to you, because everybody's going to get different things out of it, right? But something that was very important to you in the chapter that people might not have realized. That's the thing about podcasts right now, and or radio, is that like you write a book, that's done, that's finished. You can't go back and rewrite the book, right? But you can interact with people who have have read the book, and highlight certain parts that are very important to you.
Absolutely.
So maybe next week you could highlight a part of that first chapter that you thought was very important, life changing. Maybe we can kind of have a little discussion about it.
I'm with it. I mean, I start off the book by getting beat up. This little scar on my head.
Failure, bro. Failure.
I mean, you could call it failure. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he ended up in jail for life.
I'm just saying.
You know? It's hard getting over ass cutting. I'm telling you, ass cutting's always traumatizing. You know what I'm saying? Instead of me just taking the L and saying, look, I learned from that loss. I really didn't learn nothing from that loss, because I don't know how you beat that motherfucker. That's a tough little motherfucker.
How you beat what?
His name's Darnell in the book. Darnell is a tough motherfucker. All right?
We are on Facebook Live right now, but...
That was live?
Anyway,
Christ.
all I heard was
Christ.
Seth. That's all I heard.
That was his name. It was Steph, the same dude that did the interview.
Yeah.
That did that movie.
Yeah.
Okay, Kim Jong-un will get him before me.
Yeah, get his ass.
But yeah, Black Privilege is out right now. Opportunity comes to those who create it. I'll be at the...
So we're not talking about this fight?
What fight?
The fight with you and Seth.
I got my ass kicked.
Oh, okay.
Bad.
Bro, I had a dude pull up on me. Did I tell you this?
No. What happened?
Bro, I had a dude
fuck
pull up
happened?
on me, man.
What happened?
I'm at the Comedy Cellar, right? I just go in. It's like 12:30 or something like that. I'm about to go do a spot. I'm upstairs. All of a sudden, I look over at the bar, and this guy goes, Schultz! Right? In an Irish accent. I look, and it's the motherfucker who gave me and my ex a cat. Right? Remember the guy who was threatened to break my Jew
the fuck got
nose?
the cat?
Remember he goes, I got the cat.
Okay.
So he was afraid of breaking. I'm gonna break your Jew nose. I'm gonna send the police to get you. I know people in this city, this, that, the other. Right? So he's been like threatening me and shit like that. And I don't play with that threat shit. I just go right to the police. I'm too old for this. Right?
Yeah.
So he's at the bar, and all of a sudden I see him at the bar, and he kind of looks at me. So I walk up to him because he had been threatening me the whole time. I was like, all right, it might be going down, whatever. This, that, the other. He grabs a fucking coffee cup, like a mug, chucks that shit at me, right?
He threw it at you?
He threw it at me. I kind of swear that shit hits me in the shoulder hella hard.
Why
right?
is he mad at you?
Because, he gave the cat to us, and my ex moved away, and she never came to get the cat, so I said, I'm keeping the cat. And he was like, no, the cat is for her. You have to give the cat to her, this, that, the other. And we got in a big beef about it, and I was like, nah, the cat's mine, deal with it, blah, blah, blah. I wish I gave the fucking cat up. I don't want to deal with the cat anymore. Anyway, the guy came in, threw a cup at my fucking shoulder. His boy came over to me. We start kind of tussling a little bit that day, again, threw the guy out. But the motherfucker pulled up on me from giving me a cat 2 years ago. How crazy is this?
By the way, that is the whitest story I've heard in a long time.
How crazy is this?
Like, what the fuck?
I made it out of Philly alive, but this fucking cat story is still staying with me 2 years
And
later.
y'all was in a bar?
We were at the restaurant upstairs.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Olive
why would you throw a coffee mug when it's nice?
Bro, it was the
Beer
weirdest. I
bottles to
could
throw.
not believe it. My lawyer was like, dude, if you want to make this a pain in the ass for this guy, you should just press charges.
Yeah.
Like, you could really just kind of really ruin his life. And I might do that. I'm all about pressing charges. I'm 33 years old. I'm not about fighting people, nothing like that. We press charges. I go right to the courts. Your life is going to be hell. I will make your life hell. That's what it's all about. Yeah, there it is. Mix that shit up.
Silly rock in any courthouse.
There you
B.
go.
Okay.
That shit,
It's the
boy.
silly rock. I silly rock in any police station. Put your hands on me.
Bro,
the
we don't
fuck I
play
look like?
games no
I'm
more.
a taxpaying citizen. I ain't got time for this shit.
Man, I own property. You're not going to get my property.
I talk about this in the book too. Black privilege opportunity comes to those who create it.
Yeah.
Got into a fight right across the street at the motherfucking pharmacy. This is after the can I get a drop shit.
Yeah.
I fucked dude up.
Yeah.
Thank God for brass knuckle privilege. Okay? Right? Fucked him up. But guess what I did immediately after that?
File charges.
Right across the street to the radio station. I just got attacked. Where the police?
Yeah.
Yes, I am willing to go to any courthouse, any police station. I don't give a fuck. You think I give a shit about that kind of shit? I'm a grown
Absolutely.
ass man.
I'm grown. We're too grown for this shit.
I got time for that
No,
shit.
not at
Let
all.
the police do their fucking job. Get pieces of shit like this off the motherfucking street. Fuck you.
Absolutely. What else we pay taxes for?
What
What else our taxes go to making this nice ass courthouse
By
if
the
I'm
way,
not gonna go in there?
that pissed me off too, because that day that happened, when the NYPD finally showed up, it was a bomb threatened the city that day, so they got there like mad late. And when they got there, they watched the surveillance video, and they was like, well, I mean, Charlotte, you fucked him up. Like,
I don't care if I...
That ain't enough, bro.
No.
Okay? Matter of fact, we got a license plate number that the intern took a picture of. Boom.
That's it.
All right, I need this.
Everybody.
I need to go get this motherfucker. They never got him, though.
They never got him.
He never got him.
Why?
I think they found where he lived at or something, but then I don't know why they never pursued it.
That's why the North Korea shit makes sense. Lock his family up. Lock 3 generations of his family. Don't pull up on me at the fucking pharmacy. We locking everybody up, okay? For real. Seriously, I'm gonna get this guy deported. Fuck it.
Listen, is there questions on that Facebook Live? Oh, I'm not. If there's none, I'm not gonna ask him. I'm about to fucking get the fuck out of here because I got shit to do.
Well, we got to support, today's show. It's coming from Squarespace, right? You're aware of that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, whatever your next big idea might be, count on Squarespace to help you create an eye-catching online platform that brings it to life.
Matter of fact, if y'all got questions, hit us right now. We'll give y'all 4 minutes of questions,
and then we out.
We gotta be out. Well, whether you need a portfolio to showcase your work, a store to sell your products and services, or a blog to share your ideas, Squarespace gives you everything you need to look like an expert right from the start. You even get a unique domain, which strengthens your brand and makes it easier for visitors to find you.
That's right. Plus, with Squarespace award-winning templates, creating a beautiful website is simple and intuitive process, okay? You can add and arrange your content and features with the click of a mouse. And there's nothing too small, okay? Nothing too big. You just install it, patch it, upgrade it. It's nothing, no big deal whatsoever, okay? So if you have a question, Squarespace's award-winning 24/7 customer support can help you with any problem, no matter how technical or trivial seeming. Think of them as your very own IT department.
So make your next move and start your free trial at Squarespace.com today. Enter offer code IDIOT to get 10% off your first purchase. Again, that's IDIOT, IDIOT. Y'all got to get out of here because I'm actually going to YouTube at 4 p.m. because I'm doing a Black Privilege moderated book signing with Crystal. So that's going to be interesting because Crystal has read the book.
Okay.
So I know Crystal got some questions.
Word.
Because she told me Friday, I got questions about every problematic thing you said in the book. So I can't wait to talk to Crystal. Crystal is somebody who I love.
She keep you honest.
Yeah, she keeps me honest. I love building with Crystal. I love hearing Crystal's thoughts on things. So I'm very interested to see what Crystal thought about the book. And more importantly, Crystal got some good mojo when it comes to books, bro.
Really?
Crystal did Issa Rae's she moderated Issa Rae's book thing for Issa Rae's book Awkward Black Girl.
Okay.
That became a television show.
Okay.
And she did a young lady named Lovey's book. Her book was called I'm Judging You.
Okay.
And she got bought by Shonda Rhimes to become a TV show.
Amazing.
So Crystal got some good mojo when it comes to this book thing. You know what I mean? Not saying I'm looking for this to become a TV show or a movie or anything, but hey, if it happens,
there you go.
Who am I to stop it? Now, you got any questions?
I have a question. Before we go there. Here's my black privilege question. Is it black privilege that the Cleveland shooter has not been caught yet?
Oh, absolutely not. That's just dumb police privilege. Okay, he's just obviously dealing with some dumbass cops because there's no way in hell you make it out of Cleveland after fucking murdering somebody on Facebook Live. Because it's not like you know what's so funny? It's really not funny. Yeah. But he's trying to make his way to Philly. I peeped this whole game. They said they pinged his phone, and his phone was last seen in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
He'll blend right in Philly. He's bald-headed. He got the big-ass beard. Yeah. He's trying to make his fucking way to Philadelphia.
Okay, but why?
Because he can blend in.
Yeah, but because you think that's the only place that he can be not seen is in Philadelphia? What else is happening in Philadelphia where he would blend in?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I mean, there's something might be happening.
I don't know. I mean, I thought that's the most cowardly shit I've seen in a long time. The reason I think it's so cowardly is because if you ever, first of all, two things about that situation that I want people to learn from. Number one, don't shrug anybody off when they could be coming to you for some type of assistance. I don't give a fuck what's going on in your life. Your problems may pale in comparison to what the next person has going on. Now, I know that a lot of times we live in this world where we all got our own problems, we all got our own issues, we all got our own agendas that we're dealing with, so we don't really pay other people attention, and we're like, oh, he'll figure it out. Nah, man, sometimes you're doing way better mentally than the next person is. So, and I get it all the time. Family, friends, random strangers want to talk to me about things. I don't shrug people off. I get a lot of tweets, and people be like, yo, Charlamagne, I'm going through something, whatever. I may not even know you, and I may follow you just to give you some words of encouragement. Sure. Just to let you know that somebody out there gives a fuck.
Absolutely.
Somebody out there cares. Like, you can't just dismiss people. Now, I'm not making no excuses for this piece of shit dude whatsoever. All I'm simply saying is take people serious when they say they need somebody to talk to.
Absolutely.
That's number one. And the number two thing I'm taking from this, if you ever get to the point where you do get to your breaking point, you can either keep reaching out until somebody reaches back and you have somebody to talk to. Or if you ever feel like you about to go kill a whole bunch of people, kill yourself. Get the fuck out. I hate that shit, bro. Like, that, I don't hurt other people just because you going through something. If it's that bad, hey, man, do us all the biggest favor. Because guess what? I feel much worse for this 78-year-old man in Cleveland who lived his whole life minding his business, Easter fucking Sunday, and you kill him because you going through something with your fucking girlfriend? You made a permanent decision based off of temporary feelings, you stupid motherfucker? Get the fuck out of here. I hate that shit. Can't stand it.
Yeah, there's a... there's a couple things with this. It's one, stop loading up your self-esteem in the people that you interact with. right? If your entire self-esteem is dependent on your girl loving you, you're liable to kill some motherfuckers when she leaves you.
Stop focusing on what other people have.
Focus on what you have. Just was said, like, exactly what we've been saying before. It's like, you need to have that self-worth. You need to believe in yourself. It can't be based on acceptance. Trust me, I know what it's like. I'm in a career where I go up on stage and I essentially ask for these people's approval. It is very difficult to maintain a balance between how I feel about myself independently than from how I feel about the audience feeling about me.
Bro, if you hated yourself as a comedian, you'd probably kill yourself. Damon Lemon would have killed himself after The Garden.
Bro, that's how we know Damien loves him. Loves himself.
Salute to Damien Lemon, that's my man.
So many comedians kill themselves, yo. So many comedians kill themselves all the time. Yeah. And it's like, what happens is, and I've noticed about myself, when I'm feeling very confident, right? When I'm believing in myself and I'm feeling self-worth, it doesn't matter as much how the crowd reacts to my material. Because in my heart, I'm going, I'm doing the comedy I want to do. I believe in this comedy. I believe in these jokes. This is great. If you're not thinking it's funny, guess what? You don't have a sense of humor, right? Now, when I'm feeling low about myself, I chase the kill. I chase doing really well.
Because it makes you feel better.
I'm trying to fill the hole. I'm trying to fill the void. Yeah. So now I'm able to realize that, and I'm able to go, whoa, you're chasing the kill, Schultz. Just relax. Remember, you're good enough. Like we were talking before, you're good enough. You believe in what you do, and you're doing the best material that you think that you can possibly do. That's how
I feel about the dude in Cleveland. Like, whatever happened to, all right, my girl don't want me.
That's her bad.
That's her bad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go out here and be as successful as possible. Yeah. I'm going to hit this gym. Yeah. I'm going to look good. Because she going to see me shining on Instagram in a few months.
There we go. Don't kill 13 dudes. Fuck 13 girls. Fuck all the girls she works with. Let's go, Silly Millie. Get the Silly Millie. Hey.
I'm telling you, don't kill 13 dudes. Go fuck 13 girls. Word. Whatever happened to that? Like, that's the era I come from. I come from that era, oh, my girl don't want me? Watch what I'm about to go do.
Don't grab the 6-shooter. Get a 6-pack.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Get your ass in the gym.
Come on, man.
I thought it was
whack.
You know what's fucked up? He works at a behavioral health facility.
Really?
Close that shit immediately. If you can't recognize that one of the motherfuckers that works at the behavioral health facility is a murderer or could potentially kill people, then you don't need to be, educating these young kids or helping these young kids.
That's a good example of who does the go-to guy go to.
Yeah, real talk.
Like a lot of us are the go-to guys for people in our lives.
Where does your therapist? Who does your therapist speak to?
Word is born.
Who does your mom speak to?
Yeah, who do we go to? Like who does the go-to guy go to? Mm-hmm. Everybody needs a go-to, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, you think the psychiatrist don't have somebody that he's talking to?
He got multiple people, I bet. So
this shit is crazy, man.
No, this shit is great. You can't lock your whole self-esteem up in one person. Women do this all the time.
Yeah.
They lock their self-esteem up in how we feel about them.
Yeah.
You got to have your own self-worth, man. You got to develop your own self-worth, and hopefully it's not dependent on
a person, not dependent on the system. Boom. None of that shit.
It's been on you. What are your values? Are you proud of what you're doing for your life? Are you proud of what you do for a living? Are you proud of who you are as a person? And if you're not, you change those and make yourself proud.
Yeah.
Because those are up to you to change. If you don't like your job, change your fucking job.
Absolutely.
You don't like how you treat people, change how you treat people.
You don't like, listen, man, you don't like your life, change your lifestyle.
There it is.
I guarantee you it's something you're doing in your lifestyle that's causing your life to be fucked up. Change your motherfucking lifestyle.
That's it. It's done.
We gotta take one question before we get out of here.
What is the single most important principle of the book or your favorite?
The single most important principle to me is principle 7, give people the credit they deserve for being stupid, including yourself. Because I feel like that's the only way we're going to grow and evolve as a people. That's the only way you move the culture forward. You know what I'm saying? We always talking about for the culture, but what is the culture? The culture don't move forward. The culture don't evolve if we're not constantly learning. I think communication is the key. Like, I think that's why people love Brilliant Idiots, because you got two guys who are complete opposites, but we're able to just sit here and have conversations. That's the only reason I think that people were getting so distraught when they thought we was arguing and beefing, because they like, not y'all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Y'all the ones that are supposed to be able to communicate with each other in order to make things better. Like, I get that from people all the time. Like, I literally get people telling me that Brilliant Idiots has changed their life, changed the way they view things because of the way that we interact with each other.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, I hit you guys up immediately after this. I did a show in Spokane, Washington. I had a guy come up to me after the show, and he goes, "Hey, man, I want to let you know, you and Charlamagne, you guys saved my life." And I was like, "Oh, man, that's crazy. Thanks a lot." Just kind of joking. He's no. No, y'all saved my life, man. I was in a bad place. I got 3 kids, but I was doing drugs. About 2 years ago, I started listening. I was doing drugs. I was throwing my life away, and I think it would have been over for me. And he goes, I started listening to you guys, and you really changed my life. I think he said he's sober, and he introduced me to his wife. His wife even thanked me, and it was a beautiful moment because we don't do this necessarily to like help people. That's not like the goal. I'm not doing this every week going like, oh, maybe it will change someone's life. But the fact that I could do something that I personally enjoy, that somebody else could get enjoyment from, they could potentially change someone for the better. Whoa, man, that was amazing, man. That was an amazing feeling. So shout out to that dude. You know who you are if you're listening. I appreciate you, man.
Chantel, you got a question? Then we're gonna get up out of here. Black privilege, opportunity comes to those who create it in stores right now. Well, not right now. Actually, tomorrow. But when you're watching this, it was Facebook Live. Fuck, it'll be out tomorrow. God damn it! Please get it. What did you say, Chantel?
Question from Warren says, does the book mention anything about how you help?
Man, create your own opportunity. Stop asking for handouts.
No.
The fuck?
No, I mean,
everybody wants everybody to help their ass out. Hey, when you help yourself, look, it's your book. I'm not going to say, but when you help yourself, people want to help you, man. Chris Rock has the best, not joke, but the best idea about it. He goes, whenever I've seen someone on the side of the road with their car broken down, just with their thumb out, waiting for help, nobody stops for them. When you see someone pushing their own car that's broken down, 10 people stop.
Yeah.
They go, fuck, let me help this guy push this car. And that is about helping. You help yourself first, people will come there in a fucking heartbeat, man.
It is very true what Andrew's saying, but like I always say, I'm the type person, I like to throw more assists than score points. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like scoring, but the thrill of the assist is better. And yes, I do talk about that because I talk about a few situations. I talk about how people help me on the way up. So that's why I will always pay it forward. Like I tell a story about Swiss Beats and how Swiss Beats helped me to get, my man Little Rue signed, to a record deal. And Little Rue's not my man anymore, but Swiss didn't have to do that. Like Swiss did 4 records with Little Rue, and Swiss came with us to Asylum Records because that's the label I wanted to go to. He didn't have to do that, and he didn't ask for anything from it. Mm-hmm. That's just the type of person he is. When I met him, he said to me, "Look, if there's anything I can help you with, let me know," because he was already appreciating what I was doing when I was on Wendy's show. Like he came up to me, he was like, "Man, you are funny as hell on Wendy's show, whatever." So I was already helping myself.
There we go. You're pushing the car.
Boom. I was already helping myself. So he was like, "If there's anything I can help you with, you can't ask me something like that because I'm gonna do it." Same thing when I first met Envy. That's how I know Envy was a good dude and the type of person that I could build with because he didn't know me from a can of paint. He was on Hot 97 at the time. He gets people throwing records at him all day to play. I came to him and explained my situation with this whole Little Rue thing and how I'm trying to get him a deal, yada, yada, yada. He just saw the vision and played the record for no reason. One Saturday afternoon on Hot 97. I respect that. You know what I'm saying? I don't got nothing to do but salute that. So that's why I always pay it forward because people always helped me in my journey. So I like to throw assists now.
I think that's great. You should absolutely help people. All I'm saying is you want to throw assists to people who you think can score.
Yeah.
Prove that you could score, and people pass you the ball. You look at the Cavs, LeBron ain't passing to some of these dudes on the bench because he knows that they ain't going to hit the shot.
Nah.
But he's going to pass it to the people that prove that they can splash that open three.
That is a fact.
So prove yourself, and you will get tons of assists, guaranteed.
So the book will be out. Black privilege, opportunity comes to those who create it. Go get it. You can pre-order. There's no need to pre-order now, but you can get it at Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, wherever you buy books. Tonight, we'll be at the Powerhouse Arena in Brooklyn. I think that event is sold out. It's moderated by Angela Rye. I'm about to go ahead to YouTube and do this moderated event with Crystal. And yeah, man, I'll catch y'all in L.A. on 420 at the Grove, Barnes & Nobles, moderated by Carrie Champion. Thank you. As always, if you listen to this podcast and you think we're smart, you think we're intelligent, you think we're brilliant, you're absolutely right. If you listen to this podcast and you think we're just a bunch of jackasses who don't know shit, you're right too. It's the Brilliant Idiots Podcast. And thanks again to Weed Week for sponsoring the show today. Weed Week is happening soon on Viceland, the TV channel from Vice. It's like Shark Week, but with weed. They're premiering new seasons of shows like Bong Appetit and Weedakit, and late nights Jesus and Mero moved their Viceland show to L.A. for the week so they can legally celebrate the high holy days. Weed Week starts April 17th on Viceland and ends on 420. Go to Viceland.com to find your channel.